This man is lying on the bed, casually talking about life with a woman. But neither of them knows that there's a pair of eyes outside the door, staring at them intently. It turns out that the woman outside the door is the man's wife. Because she has cancer, she can only live alone in the hospital. Yet her husband has never visited her even once, and he is unwilling to pay even a penny of her medical expenses. Because she had been unable to reach this man for a long time, she decided to come home and take a look. Unexpectedly, the moment she walked in, she was greeted by a huge surprise. Her best friend's high heels were lying messily at her doorstep. As she walked further inside, their intimate clothing was scattered all over the floor. Standing at the doorway and looking at the unbearable scene on the bed, the woman nearly went into cardiac arrest, and her blood pressure shot up. It turned out that the man had already bought a huge insurance policy for her, just waiting for her to die, so he could immediately take the money and run off with her best friend. The woman did not dare to think any further. The man she had loved most in her life, and the best friend she had trusted most, had not only betrayed her, but were also eagerly waiting for her to die. She was so furious that she completely lost her mind, shoved the door open, and stared directly at the adulterous couple in front of her. The two people on the bed were instantly terrified and panicked when they saw the woman suddenly appear. The man hurriedly got up and explained, "Honey, it's not what you think." But after saying that, even he himself had no idea how to explain it away. At this moment, the woman was already utterly heartbroken and trembling with rage. She roared, "I'm going to expose you. I'll tell everyone about all the filthy things you've done. I'll even post it on short video platforms so everyone can see your true colors and make sure you can never hold your heads up again for the rest of your lives." Hearing this, the best friend immediately turned deathly pale with fear. If this really got out, how could she ever face people again? She shamelessly begged the woman at once, "No, Jiwon, don't do this.
Please let me go, okay?
We're best friends." Hearing that, the woman laughed in extreme anger. "Friends? What kind of friend sleeps with my husband and wants to benefit from my death?" Looking at the woman, who had always been easy to talk to, the best friend realized that this time she was truly enraged and no amount of persuasion would work. So frightened, she dropped to her knees on the spot and said, "You're going to die anyway. Can't you make things a little easier for those of us who are still alive?" After saying that, she immediately put on an act and burst into tears. Seeing that her best friend was still pretending at a time like this, the woman felt only a wave of nausea. She rushed forward, wanting to tear out the other woman's hair. The man saw his lover being hit and instantly panicked. He rushed forward and viciously slapped the woman across the face. The slap was so fast and hard that the woman's glasses shattered all over the floor. "You hit me? You actually hit me?" The woman looked at the man in disbelief.
So, what if I hit you?
"If you're going to die, then hurry up and die. Don't drag down those of us who are still alive." The woman roared, "If you hadn't taken all my money, I would have gone to the hospital for treatment long ago, and I wouldn't have ended up like this today. Even if I die, I won't let you off. You really just won't go away," the man said. And then he actually used all his strength to strike the woman again. The woman coughed up blood from the blow on the spot. Losing her balance, she fell backward. Her head hit the corner of the table, and she stopped breathing on the spot. "Darling, is she dead? Who cares? She was going to die sooner or later anyway." Those were the last words the woman heard. Such a kind and lovely woman had lived such a tragic life. She had lived such a tragic life, but she had not truly died. When she woke up again, she had actually returned to 1 year earlier. Awakened by a co-worker, she stared blankly at herself in the mirror. She gently pinched her face to make sure she was not dreaming. Time had actually reversed, and she had returned to 10 years earlier. Jiwon. Accompanied by this familiar voice, a man walked up behind her. The moment she heard that voice, the woman trembled in terror. This man was her husband from her previous life, Manhwa, the very person who had beaten her to death with his own hands. At this point in time, she and he were only co-workers and not yet married. The moment the man saw Jiwon, he immediately began showing concern for her, but hearing his hypocritical voice only made her feel as sick as if she had swallowed a fly. She flung his hand away and stormed off angrily. The commotion was so loud that it drew everyone around them over. Among them was also that vicious woman, her best friend, Jong Soo-min. Jiwon had not expected that even after being reborn, she still could not escape entanglement with these two people. She gritted her teeth in anger. Because the scene was too noisy, her supervisor called Jiwon into the office. "Ms. Gang Jiwon, this is work time, so please set aside personal matters for now." The man before her was tall, handsome, and dressed in a suit. He was her boss, Director Yoo Ji-hyuk. Facing the director's reminder, Jiwon quickly apologized, but she did not expect that along with the work documents handed to her, there would also be a handkerchief. Jiwon had not expected that the director, with whom she had almost no interaction in her previous life, also had such a gentle and considerate side. Jiwon froze for a moment and nearly collapsed on the spot. At that moment, the director reacted quickly and immediately caught Jiwon. Such close contact made Jiwon freeze where she stood. When she came back to her senses, she hurriedly walked outside in a fluster. Meanwhile, Bak Min-hwan had no idea why Jiwon seemed like a completely different person today, and even after calling her hundreds of times, she did not answer. At this moment, the scheming green tea Jong Soo-min immediately came over to comfort Bok Min-hwan. She even suggested inviting Ji-won to eat fried chicken together. What they did not know was that Ji-won had already rushed home at top speed. She quickly dug out her bank book to check it. When she saw that all of her money was still there, she finally let out a long sigh of relief. In her previous life, Bok Min-hwan had been obsessed with stock trading and had lost all of her money. But in this life, she had to hold tightly onto her own life. At this moment, Ji-won received a text message from Bok Min-hwan. He invited her to go out for a meal with him and Soo-min. Thinking of how these two had already been in cahoots in her previous life, and thinking of how Bok Min-hwan had even wanted her to marry him, Ji-won decided that in this life, she would definitely take ruthless revenge on them. A bold plan instantly formed in her mind. Bok Min-hwan texted her to invite her to dinner, but when she arrived, he showed up together with Jong Soo-min. Looking at how intimate they were, her innocent former self had thought it was all perfectly normal. But now it was clear that their affair had long shown signs. Only the past her had been foolishly kept in the dark. Ji-won casually ordered a few side dishes she liked, but unexpectedly, Bok Min-hwan still insisted on asking Soo-min first whether she liked them. He directly placed Ji-won, his official girlfriend, last. Jong Soo-min even deliberately put on a generous-looking act and said, "As long as it's something Ji-won likes, I like it too." At this point, Ji-won understood what she meant by "I like it too," and that included men, including that damned Bok Min-hwan. This woman really was a complete fox spirit. The two of them chatted happily at the table as if no one else was there, treating Ji-won, who sat beside them, as if she were air. At this moment, a waiter came over carrying hot soup. Unexpectedly, he was bumped by the man beside him. The scalding thick soup spilled all over Ji-won's hand at once. She grimaced in pain from the burn. She immediately ran to the restroom to rinse the wound. But even more shocking than the burn was that this scene was exactly the same as in her previous life. That meant that although she had been reborn, the course of fate seemed not to have changed. Could it be that in the end, she would still marry Bok Min-hwan? No. It seemed she had to immediately find a way to rewrite all of this. Watching the two of them drink merrily, Soo-min even acted cute in front of Bok Min-hwan and asked Ji-won to feed her. Ji-won directly picked up a huge piece of food and roughly stuffed it into her mouth. Ji-won decided that in this life, she would change her overly nice temperament and absolutely never let this green tea Jong Soo-min ride over her again. Thinking of this, she even directly wanted to send her away. Grabbing Jong Soo-min, she stuffed her into a taxi. Jong Soo-min was completely stunned and did not understand at all why Ji-won had suddenly become so assertive. The next day at the company, Jong Soo-min warmly invited Ji-won and Min-hwan to eat together. At this moment, Soo-min even praised the clothes Ji-won was wearing today as especially beautiful. Hearing that, Ji-won nearly froze on the spot. If she remembered correctly, in just a moment, Soo-min would deliberately spill soup on her while serving dishes. Then she would make her lose face in front of everyone. Knowing everything in advance, Ji-won decided to beat her at her own game. Sure enough, Soo-min deliberately ordered a bowl of red soup. Then, carrying the tray, she looked around left and right for a seat with Ji-won behind her. Ji-won silently counted in her heart, 3, 2, 1. Sure enough, Soo-min deliberately turned around and used the huge momentum to spill all the thick soup from the tray. But this time, Ji-won was prepared and dodged it with a sidestep. And that entire bowl of soup ended up splashing all over Bok Min-hwan instead. Splashed all over with thick soup, Bok Min-hwan was furious, and in his heart, he was already cursing. But when he thought that Jong Soo-min had done it, he could only pretend to be generous and keep saying it was fine.
Don't just stand there watching.
Hurry up and get some tissues to wipe him off. Hearing my words, Jong Soo-min nearly froze on the spot. Her expression seemed to say, "Are you ordering me around? Of course. You spilled the soup, so if you don't go, who will?" Seeing that Jong Soo-min was in the wrong, of course, I would not miss this chance to put her down. Jong Soo-min had no way to ruin the persona she had built in front of Bok Min-hwan, so although she was extremely unhappy inside, she could only do as she was told. But who knew that in a fit of anger, she actually took all the toilet paper from the restroom. As a result, the person inside the restroom had no paper to use and could only desperately call for help outside the door. Luckily, I happened to be washing my hands in the restroom and heard it. I immediately stepped in to help her out. After the person inside came out, she was extremely grateful to me and kept saying I was her savior. Only then did I realize that she was a new coworker at the company named Hui-yun. She was warm and cheerful, far better than that scheming green tea Jong Soo-min. At this moment, she told me that she had already been calling for help for a long time inside, and although someone had clearly been outside earlier, that person refused to help her. I could guess with my toes that person had to be Jong Soo-min, because she only ever pretended to be a good person. She was never truly one. But unexpectedly, While this was going on, Jang Soo-min had already been laughing and chatting with Bak Min-hwan about me behind my back. Not only did she badmouth me as worthless, but she also deliberately made herself seem helpful and kind. She even said that when she heard someone calling for help in the restroom earlier, she had taken the initiative to give that person some paper. She was so immersed in her performance that she had no idea we had already walked up beside her. When she noticed that I'd just come out of the restroom, she immediately changed the subject. After all, if she kept talking, once her lie was exposed, she would die of social embarrassment on the spot. When she saw that I had a good relationship with the new coworker Huiyun, she felt even more upset to the extreme. The moment I left, she immediately ran over to Huiyun. She started bad-mouthing me in front of her, telling her that you can never truly know what is in a person's heart and that she should not get too close to me. But she had no idea that Huiyun had already known for a long time that the person who heard someone calling for help in the restroom and refused to help was none other than Jang Soo-min. Huiyun directly told her to stop sowing discord, saying that she knew very well who was human and who was a ghost. At this moment, Jang Soo-min's face turned extremely ugly from that retort. The image she had desperately worked to maintain had been exposed just like that. What if Huiyun spread this matter around the company? She had to find a way to make Huiyun get out of the company. Just then, the company's second-in-command happened to walk over. He was an old man past middle age with lecherous eyes. This sinister and vicious woman, in order to suppress her co-workers, actually clung to an old man older than her own father. It turned out that he was the section chief, the true second-in-command of the company. The moment Soo-min saw Manager Kim, she immediately put on a weak and obedient act and praised him for looking especially handsome today. He was practically like a young man. As she said this, she even involuntarily leaned closer. She whispered in the section chief's ear and even invited him to find a place after work to talk about life. The section chief had not expected Soo-min to be this proactive and enthusiastic, so of course he readily agreed. The two of them returned to the office together like that, only to discover Ji-won and several co-workers gathered around together, apparently talking about something in a lively atmosphere. And as soon as those women saw Soo-min and the section chief return together, they all immediately fell silent. This scene made Soo-min even more suspicious, and she became convinced that they had definitely been talking badly about her just now. Looking at Ji-won beside her, she became angrier and angrier. Ji-won actually dared to make friends with people other than me. She burned with rage, and the hatred in her heart began to rise little by little. As a result, even when she drank with Manager Kim after work, she was not in much of a mood. She thought that Ji-won was probably out on a date with the young and handsome Bak Min-hwan right now, while she herself could only drink with a lecherous old man, and the more she thought about it, the angrier she became, wondering why the gap between people had to be so huge. After Manager Kim downed a few glasses of liquor, however, he became more and more excited and even began telling Soo-min the dirty jokes he was best at. And in order to please the section chief, Soo-min could only pretend to go along with him. The two of them laughed and joked together like that. Seeing that the atmosphere was just about right, Soo-min immediately pretended unintentionally to start complaining to the section chief. She told him that those co-workers who were close to Ji-won saw her as innocent and easy to bully, and they were always making trouble for her both openly and secretly, and she even hinted that if this continued, she might have to resign. Hearing this, the section chief predictably took the bait and immediately told Soo-min that he would teach those people a lesson for her. Jang Soo-min's evil scheme succeeded, and the smile on her face deepened. She had not expected this section chief to be so easy to deceive. It seemed that in the future, she could use his hands to solve quite a few problems for herself. Meanwhile, because Ji-won had not been splashed with soup this time, she finally realized that fate could actually be changed. At this moment, she was in an unprecedentedly good mood and even arrived at the company early in the morning. But she unexpectedly discovered that the director was sleeping face down at his desk. She walked over softly and quietly and placed a cup of coffee for him. Looking at his sleeping face, Ji-won only felt that the director was truly handsome. But just then, a large hand suddenly grabbed Ji-won tightly. It turned out that Bak Min-hwan had found Ji-won alone here with the director and had no idea what they were doing. He immediately felt very unhappy and at once tried to drag Ji-won outside to talk. Ji-won immediately struggled and resisted, but she was too weak and could not break free at all. Just then, another large hand clamped down tightly on Bak Min-hwan. "Mr. Bak Min-hwan, what do you think you're doing? Let go immediately. This is the company, and it is working hours. If you have personal matters, handle them after work." The director's tone was cold and hard, every word firm and forceful. At this moment, Bak Min-hwan was instantly enraged, never having expected that the director would interfere in matters between him and Ji-won. This woman had stayed in the restroom for a full 2 hours, yet had done nothing. It turned out that she did not really need to use the restroom. She was simply too afraid to go out. That morning, Bok Min-hwan had wanted to forcibly take Ji-won away. Fortunately, the director saw it and stopped him in time. Although the director drove Bok Min-hwan away, Bok Min-hwan obviously had no intention of letting the matter drop. He even directly told Ji-won not to leave after work. When Ji-won saw that expression on his face, one she knew all too well, she instantly began trembling in fear. Recalling her previous life, every time Bok Min-hwan showed that expression, it meant she was not far from being beaten. Fear instantly filled Ji-won's entire body, because after work, she received another text message from Bok Min-hwan. He was waiting for her outside the company. After hiding in the restroom for 2 hours, Ji-won still decided to go out and look. Maybe Bok Min-hwan had already left. But as soon as she came out, she found the director standing outside waiting for her, and he proactively offered to take her home. It turned out that the absent-minded and shaken look she had when getting off work had long been noticed by the director. The attentive director knew that Ji-won must have run into trouble. So even though work was already over, he did not leave and instead kept waiting outside for her. After getting into the director's car, Ji-won finally felt a trace of long-lost safety. Why was the director helping her again and again? Could it be that he liked her? But when she saw that luxury brand lipstick in the car, her heart instantly sank halfway. Could it be that the director already had a girlfriend? Then again, that made sense. For someone as outstanding as the director, it was perfectly normal to have a girlfriend. When the car drove to the front of the company, Ji-won discovered that Bok Min-hwan was still standing outside waiting for her. She shrank back instinctively in fright and hid herself. Bok Min-hwan glanced toward the car, but he did not notice Ji-won sitting inside. At this moment, the director told her that the window tint was very dark and people outside could not see in at all. It turned out that the director had already seen through everything. After the director took Ji-won home, he stayed downstairs for a full half-hour before preparing to leave. Back at home, Ji-won lowered her head and looked at her phone. Row after row of missed calls filled the screen, all of them from Bok Min-hwan. Just then, the phone rang again. The moment Ji-won answered, Bok Min-hwan's angry voice came through. He demanded to know what exactly her relationship with the director was and ordered her to stay away from the director in the future. Hearing Bok Min-hwan's voice, Ji-won felt a wave of nausea. She directly tossed the phone aside. Hypocritical man. When will I ever be able to completely get rid of you? After going through everything in her previous life, when she looked back at the people who sincerely treated her well now, perhaps they were only those few co-workers with whom she had not had much interaction. Under Soo-min's instigation, Manager Kim began frantically making things difficult for the co-workers who were close to Ji-won. What kind of thing is this you wrote? You call this a proposal? Take it back and redo it. At this moment, Manager Kim was swaggering in the office. He was fiercely berating Assistant Manager Yang, and Jong Soo-min, seeing the scene, was gloating at the side, feeling smug beyond measure. Ji-won saw all of this and felt extremely anxious. In her previous life, Assistant Manager Yang had been the one who, while handling housework and taking care of children, also had to work overtime every day, revising proposals. In the end, she was literally worked to death and died suddenly. This time, I must change all of this. Ji-won immediately found Assistant Manager Yang and told her that the proposal did not need to be redone at all. She only needed to change the font and then bring it back for him to see. Hearing that, Assistant Manager Yang was completely stunned. How could that be possible? Just trust me this once. Manager Kim won't read it carefully anyway. He'll just directly say it's no good and make you redo it. Ji-won said in a firm tone. That pot-bellied old pervert. A few words from that scheming green tea had him so bewitched he lost all sense of direction, and he directly became the gun in Jong Soo-min's hand. He began frantically, making things difficult for Ji-won and everyone around her. Assistant Manager Yang was assigned to handle a brand promotion proposal, but Manager Kim did not even look at it and told her to take it back and redo it. The next day, Assistant Manager Yang submitted the exact same proposal again. Sure enough, the section chief did not even flip through it and tossed it aside like waste paper. The third day, redo it. The fourth day, not good enough. The fifth day, what is this nonsense? After being tormented like this for an entire week because the proposal was going to be discussed in a meeting the next day, Manager Kim finally reluctantly accepted the proposal and told her to photocopy it and distribute it to everyone. At this point, Assistant Manager Yang was completely convinced and felt that Ji-won was practically prophetic. It turned out that the section chief really did not read the content at all. Simply changing the font and layout was enough to pass. The second stage, the meeting was held as scheduled. The next day, the meeting began on time, and Assistant Manager Yang seriously started explaining the proposal to everyone. Meanwhile, Manager Kim and Jong Soo-min, as always, were slacking off below. At this moment, the director looked at the proposal in his hands and suddenly sensed that something was wrong. Why was Assistant Manager Yang talking about the content on page 3 when it appeared on page 5 in the document he had? At this time, Assistant Manager Yang immediately explained that she had accidentally taken the wrong draft and that the one in the director's hands was the first draft. The moment Manager Kim saw that she had made such a low-level mistake, he immediately began loudly berating her again. He even impatiently handed the final draft in his own hands to the director for review. After the director examined it carefully, he discovered that the two proposals were actually identical, with only the formatting different. So, he immediately asked Manager Kim why he had returned the first draft. Manager Kim immediately put on a highly professional act and said that Assistant Manager Yang's first draft had many unreasonable parts, and that only after he had her revise it many times did they finally arrive at this qualified final draft. It was clearly the same content, just with different formatting, so what exactly was wrong with it that it needed to be redone so many times? The director's tone instantly turned cold as he began directly questioning Manager Kim. The displeasure in his voice was almost impossible to hide. Only then did Manager Kim finally realize that he had been played. Assistant Manager Yang had never revised the draft at all. He hurriedly admitted his mistake to the director, but by then the director was already extremely angry. He directly ordered him to immediately write a self-criticism and give a detailed explanation of this incident. Jang Soo-min had never imagined that the section chief she had drawn in was not only lecherous, but actually this stupid as well. And when Ji-won saw them humiliated, a satisfied smile finally appeared on her face. It seemed that from now on, Manager Kim would not dare bully us so casually anymore. It seemed that from now on, Manager Kim would not dare make things difficult for us so casually anymore. But just then, as Ji-won looked at the computer screen, she unexpectedly received a message from Jang Soo-min. You haven't forgotten about our date on Sunday, have you? This weekend's appointment? Looking at the calendar on the desk, Ji-won instantly remembered that date from her previous life, and a terrified expression immediately appeared on her face. That miserable experience was the nightmare of her life. It was a memory she had wanted to completely erase from her mind countless times. Only now did she fully understand that her so-called best friend had always been a vicious green tea, and from their school days onward, she had already been hurting her. Back then, Ji-won's desk mate was named Baek Eun-ho. Not only was he tall and handsome, he was also the student council president, the dream man in every girl's heart. But no one knew that the person he secretly liked had always been Ji-won. At that time, the classmates in their class always bullied the introverted Ji-won. It was Baek Eun-ho who took the initiative to sit beside her and shield her from everything. His gentleness toward Ji-won was like a spring breeze, and it slowly caused a different kind of feeling to grow in Ji-won's heart. In her adolescence, she thought she had already fallen for this boy, and Jang Soo-min saw all of this. She urged Ji-won to quickly write a letter and confess to Baek Eun-ho. On impulse, Ji-won agreed to her suggestion. She immediately put all of her heartfelt feelings into the envelope. Then she personally placed that letter into Baek Eun-ho's locker. But unexpectedly, after Baek Eun-ho read the letter, he instantly flew into a rage. "So this is how you've always seen me? I have nothing left to say." After saying that, he tore the letter to pieces on the spot. Ji-won had no idea why things had turned out this way. She was left all alone, heartbroken to the point of despair. Only later did she find out that Jang Soo-min had been manipulating everything behind the scenes. She had secretly switched out Ji-won's confession letter. She replaced it with a breakup letter full of insults, telling Baek Eun-ho not to harass her anymore in the future. From then on, Baek Eun-ho and Ji-won became complete strangers. What was even more vicious came after that. Jang Soo-min even went and told the other classmates that the person Baek Eun-ho liked was actually her, and that he had already confessed to her. But because Ji-won was her best friend, and Ji-won also liked Baek Eun-ho, she would not allow her to be with Baek Eun-ho. The classmates, who knew nothing of the truth, actually believed it. Everyone began to dislike Ji-won together. And just like that, Ji-won was completely isolated by the entire class. And on that Sunday night, Jang Soo-min asked Ji-won to accompany her out for a meal. But the moment Ji-won walked into the restaurant, she almost froze in shock. It turned out that Jang Soo-min had secretly arranged a class reunion there, and everyone was surprised to see Ji-won appear, wondering how someone so dowdy still had the nerve to come there. Everyone immediately began hurling nasty remarks at her, and at that moment, Jang Soo-min pretended to be a good person, saying that Ji-won was her best friend. Ji-won couldn't stand her classmates' sarcasm and ridicule, so she immediately hid in the bathroom. But even after hiding in the bathroom, she could still hear everyone mocking her. She stayed there alone in the bathroom, feeling miserable. By the time she came out of the bathroom again, everyone had already left, without giving her any chance to explain. Ji-won was awakened by this scene from 10 years ago, and this time, she was going to fight back with everything she had. Just then, Huiyeon invited her to go shopping together, and she readily agreed because she had decided that this time she would amaze everyone. She took off the black-rimmed glasses that had always been with her and began bravely trying contact lenses. Without her glasses, Ji-won immediately amazed Huiyeon. So, Huiyeon took Ji-won to a famous image consulting salon. They started trimming her hair and said they would help her with makeup and design her look. Ji-won stared blankly at herself in the mirror. Just like that, the ordinary her completed a stunning transformation. At that moment, Jang Soo-min happened to call. "Don't be late for tonight's gathering. fully prepared to make her comeback. She readily agreed. Jang Soo-min bragged to her classmates that she was an employee of the big company UK. She instantly became someone everyone envied and tried to flatter. Listening to everyone mock Ji-won gave her immense satisfaction. She immediately called Ji-won and urged her to come quickly. But unexpectedly, before she even finished speaking, Ji-won had already walked in. With exquisite makeup and a perfect figure, she shone across the whole room like a star. This gave Jang Soo-min quite a scare. All the classmates were completely stunned as well. No one had expected Ji-won to become this beautiful. The male classmates immediately came forward one after another to strike up conversations, while treating Jang Soo-min with disdain. Everyone was dazzled by Ji-won's beauty and began to doubt those rumors. At that moment, Ji-won walked into the bathroom. She knew the classmates would definitely be talking about her there, so she immediately explained everything to them. She told them what had really happened back then. The person Baek Eun-ho liked was her, not Soo-min at all. And Soo-min had used despicable means to harm her and mislead everyone. If they didn't believe her, they could ask Baek Eun-ho themselves. As she spoke, she also took out her company business card and told them that she was the official full-time employee at UK, while Jang Soo-min was only a contract worker she had introduced into the company. All her boasting and showing off were fake. She had only gotten to where she was today because of Ji-won. Looking at Ji-won's business card, the classmates finally realized that Jang Soo-min had been lying to them all along and that the truth was completely different from what she had said. After Ji-won left, Jang Soo-min happened to come to the bathroom as well. She had not expected that the moment she entered, she would be confronted by the classmates. Lies are often full of holes, and faced with everyone's questioning, Jang Soo-min simply could not explain herself. One by one, her lies were exposed, and only then did everyone realize that Jang Soo-min was the real manipulative fake. At this moment, Jang Soo-min was no longer the cute girl everyone liked, but had become someone despised by all her classmates. She was completely stunned by this sudden turn of events. Why had things suddenly become like this? This had clearly been a trap set for Ji-won, but in the end, the one who became the fool was herself. When Ji-won walked out of the restaurant, Baek Eun-ho also happened to rush over, just to see her. Because Ji-won had changed so much, the two of them actually failed to recognize each other when they passed by. Ms. Gang Ji-won, I'm here to pick you up. It turned out the director had come to get her. Only then did Baek Eun-ho realize it, and he quickly called out to stop Ji-won. Gang Ji-won, who had been reborn and returned to 10 years earlier, with only a small change. She had suddenly gone from the overlooked girl with glasses from the past, whom not even her husband liked, to the center of attention she was now. Baek Eun-ho had come from far away especially to find her. Even the cold and aloof director Yu had personally become her driver for Ji-won's sake. Wherever Ji-won went, he followed. As soon as Ji-won got into the car, she immediately asked the director how he had known she was there. The director could only cover it up by saying that he had just happened to be passing by and was giving her a ride home on the way. Because she was too tired, Ji-won gradually fell asleep without realizing it. When she woke up again, she found that the director had already covered her with his coat. Only after asking him did she learn that it was already 10 o'clock, and Ji-won then realized that she had slept for a full 3 hours, and the director had quietly waited there for her to wake up. She hurriedly prepared to go home, feeling a little embarrassed. Unexpectedly, at that moment, the director grabbed her hand and slowly leaned closer. If nothing unexpected happened, then indeed nothing unexpected happened. The director did not lose control. Instead, he had noticed that Bok Min-hwan was outside. He was worried Ji-won would be seen if she got out of the car, so he immediately stopped her. Ji-won had to admire how quickly the director reacted. But exactly when were you planning to let go of her hand? Ms. Gang Ji-won, do you love Mr. Bok Min-hwan? At that moment, the director actually asked a soul-searching question. Yes, I do love him. When Ji-won remembered the woman's lipstick that had once been in the director's car, she could not help but want to avoid him. All right, if I offended you, then I oppo. The director turned away as he spoke. Hearing that, Ji-won could not help thinking that maybe her reaction just now had been too intense. Could the director have gotten angry? So she immediately gave the director a warm smile. She even praised him, saying that he looked really handsome today without his glasses. Oh, really? Hearing Ji-won's compliment, the director immediately put his glasses back on, leaving Ji-won completely speechless. The next day, the now beautiful Ji-won came to the company and instantly amazed everyone. And everyone also noticed that today the director had changed his image too and had taken off his glasses. At that moment, Huiyeon immediately started teasing them, saying the two of them looked like a couple today. Embarrassed, the director told Huiyeon to hurry up and shut up. Okay, Bok Min-hwan and Jang Soo-min walked into the company chatting and laughing. The moment they saw Ji-won's dramatically changed style, they froze. What on earth was going on? How had Ji-won suddenly become like a female celebrity? Bok Min-hwan immediately put on a lecherous expression and eagerly ran over to flirt with her. When Jang Soo-min saw this, she instantly hated it. So much her teeth itched. Although you look very pretty like this, I'm worried other men will start eyeing you. When he saw that the director was not wearing glasses today, He thought the director might be deliberately trying to attract Ji-won. Bak Min-hwan actually began to feel a trace of crisis in his heart. He quickly fawned over Ji-won and even asked her out to dinner that night. But Ji-won directly refused him with a single sentence, saying she already had plans. Because she had already made plans with Baek Eun-ho, the man she had once had a crush on, and who had once had a crush on her too. After a deep conversation, the two of them finally cleared up the misunderstanding from back then. But missed chances were still missed chances in the end, and they finally decided that from then on, they would only be ordinary friends. After coming out, Ji-won walked down the street alone in loneliness. She felt heartbroken for the youth that had been ruined by Jong Soo-min. And just then, the director appeared in front of her once again. With the way the director kept caring for her and helping her again and again, no matter how slow Ji-won was, she understood that he liked her. Compared with that scumbag Bak Min-hwan, the director was simply her perfect choice. But the current Ji-won still could not be with the director because she knew she had more important things to do. She still could not leave Bak Min-hwan and Jong Soo-min behind now, or she would lose the chance to deal them a fatal blow. Compared with love, her most important task right now was still revenge. She thought of what had happened in her previous life, and scene after scene flashed through her mind, becoming a nightmare she could never shake off. Because of that past, she often woke up crying in the middle of the night, and she knew she had to begin her revenge as soon as possible. The next day, Ji-won unexpectedly brought breakfast to Bak Min-hwan for the first time ever. She knew that she had been too cold toward Bak Min-hwan during this period and that it would make him suspicious, so she immediately changed her attitude toward him. Bak Min-hwan was instantly dazzled by the affection Ji-won showed, thinking that she had finally changed her mind and figured everything out. And the intimate interaction between Bak Min-hwan and Ji-won was quickly seen by Jong Soo-min, which deeply provoked her. She was grinding her teeth in anger, because in her heart, Ji-won was inferior to her in every way. She wanted to control Ji-won's life and take everything from her. Ji-won glanced at Jong Soo-min and knew that she would definitely start trying to seduce Bak Min-hwan again. So Ji-won decided to beat her at her own game and simply give her a push. It just so happened that the company had a project recently. She immediately went to assistant manager Yang and asked her to arrange for Jong Soo-min to join the project as well, and to have her work on it together with Bak Min-hwan. But before Jong Soo-min could even be happy for 2 days, assistant manager Yang sent her off to the supermarket to work as a product promoter. At that moment, Jong Soo-min was extremely annoyed. She had not expected assistant manager Yang to make her do this kind of odd job. Of course, she refused to obediently follow instructions. She was supposed to promote the product, but instead she ignored everything and just kept looking down at her phone. When someone asked her whether the food should not contain nuts, she did not even look and casually brushed it off by saying no. Unexpectedly, after eating the sample, the customer had a severe allergic reaction. They immediately questioned Soo-min, asking why she had not informed them beforehand that it contained nuts. But Soo-min paid them no attention at all and actually turned around and scolded them for making trouble out of nothing. Fortunately, Bak Min-hwan rushed over in time. He had not expected Jong Soo-min to cause such a huge mess. He immediately began regretting why he had come there in the first place. But when he thought of Jong Soo-min's cute face, he could not bear to blame her. He could only send the customer to the hospital first. Knowing she had caused trouble, Jong Soo-min immediately pushed the blame onto Ji-won, saying Ji-won had not told her in advance that the sample contained allergens. She even acted coquettishly and turned around to throw herself into Bak Min-hwan's arms. She told him that if others found out she had made a mistake, she would definitely be fired by the company. Bak Min-hwan hesitated for a moment, but in the end he still held Soo-min tightly and told her that he would handle everything. He even immediately called Ji-won to blame her, asking why she had not reminded Soo-min of the precautions beforehand. Ji-won was instantly speechless. She had clearly reminded Soo-min before. She had not expected Soo-min to mess up even such a small matter. And Soo-min also had not expected Bak Min-hwan to actually blame Ji-won for her sake. It seemed that as long as she tried a little harder, she would be able to steal him away from Ji-won. And that old bachelor, manager Kim, who had been swept off his feet by Soo-min's flirting last time. Ever since that date with Soo-min, he had been unable to stop thinking about her. All day long, he fantasized about walking into marriage with her. For that reason, he decided to work hard and make something of himself at the company. So he went to find the new colleague Hui-yun. He knew Hui-yun had a very good proposal in hand, so he hoped Hui-yun would submit it under his name. In return, he could help Hui-yun become a full-time employee. If she refused, she might very well be fired by the company. Hui-yun had never imagined that the section chief could be this shameless and actually want to directly steal her idea. Without even thinking, she directly refused the section chief. The more she thought about it afterward, the angrier she became, so she told Ji-won about it too. After hearing it, Ji-won immediately told Huiyeon that she could agree to the section chief's request because based on memories from her previous life, she knew that not only would this project fail, it would also cause huge losses to the company. If the section chief took over this project, he would definitely be completely finished. So Manager Kim successfully got the proposal and submitted it to the higher-ups. The leaders were very satisfied with the proposal and decided to let Manager Kim take full charge of the project. At that moment, Manager Kim felt as though he had reached the pinnacle of life. He was practically ready to hum a tune while walking. And his little sweetheart Jong Soo-min even called him Appa in a coquettish voice and said she wanted him to buy her strawberry milk. Manager Kim was overjoyed by her flirting. He had not expected his little baby Soo-min to be so adorable. But Manager Kim got happy far too early. Suddenly, one phone call summoned him to the leader's office. The beaming Manager Kim had only just stepped through the door when the leader angrily hurled a folder at him. "You damned bald bastard. How are you planning to take responsibility for this? Your project has completely failed. Not only has the company's massive investment gone down the drain, but even the stock price has already hit the limit down." Manager Kim was so shocked by this sudden blow that he froze on the spot. He immediately told the leader that this proposal had actually been entrusted to him by Huiyeon to submit, pushing all the responsibility onto her. Manager Kim felt that if she came out to take the blame right away, the company could avoid public criticism. But when the leader heard the name Huiyeon, he froze. After all, Huiyeon was the director's biological younger sister, and this secret was known only to the company's upper management. If Huiyeon were made to take the blame, that would truly be courting death. Furious, he gave Manager Kim another harsh scolding. He told him to get out. Manager Kim had never imagined that his world would collapse just like that, falling from the peak of life straight into the abyss. But it didn't matter. He looked at the strawberry milk in his hand, thinking that his little sweetheart Soo-min was still waiting for him. It seemed as if the world had hope again. Manager Kim, who had just been scolded by the leader, brought Soo-min the strawberry milk she wanted to drink, hoping she would comfort him with a few words. Who would have thought that Soo-min ignored him completely, turned around and walked away, and even said that she did not like strawberry milk at all. Manager Kim, whose career had hit rock bottom, suffered another heavy blow in love on the very same day. He felt as if he had been abandoned by the whole world, trembling with anger. When he saw Ji-won sitting nearby, he finally realized that she and Huiyeon had joined forces to set him up. He immediately stormed over in fury. "Assistant Manager Kong, where's the report I told you to hand in? Didn't I say that report was very important?" Looking at the enraged section chief, Ji-won immediately told him that the report had long since been placed on his desk, while inwardly thinking, if you want to pick a fight, can't you at least come up with a better excuse? You've really got some nerve. Every time I say one thing, you answer back, is that it? You think you're the smartest one here? Or what? Manager Kim instantly flew into a rage. Ji-won stared at the section chief in such a loss of composure and was completely stunned. But Manager Kim had already completely lost his mind. The more he cursed, the more worked up he became. And he actually started insulting Ji-won's deceased parents. Ji-won had not expected Manager Kim's insults to be so utterly without limits, and she angrily stood up. But Manager Kim had no intention of stopping. He felt that cursing her was not enough, so he actually raised his hand, preparing to slap Ji-won hard across the face. At the critical moment, a large hand reached from behind and tightly grabbed Manager Kim. It turned out the director had arrived just in time. When he saw that Manager Kim actually dared to treat Ji-won this way, his anger surged at once, and he immediately ordered him to apologize. The moment Manager Kim saw his superior, all the arrogance he had shown just now disappeared instantly, and he immediately apologized to Ji-won. Ji-won also did not want to make a huge scene, so she told the director to let Manager Kim go. But the director still looked displeased and did not let Manager Kim off so easily. Instead, he directly threw him hard to the ground. Poor Manager Kim fell flat on his back, and even the strawberry milk that symbolized love was crushed under him. Not only that, in view of Manager Kim's vile behavior toward Ji-won this time, the company immediately issued a disciplinary notice against him. Not only was his pay docked, but even his rank was demoted to assistant manager. From then on, there was no more Manager Kim. He trembled with anger. He did not know whether, after losing his position as section chief, Soo-min would still admire him the way she used to. And just at that moment, he happened to see Jong Soo-min walking together with Bak Min-hwan. Not only was Bak Min-hwan staying together with his little sweetheart, he was even bad-mouthing him behind his back to Soo-min, calling him an incompetent bald section chief. All of this falling into Manager Kim's ears felt like being stabbed hard with needles. Even more infuriating, Jong Soo-min actually accepted the strawberry milk Bak Min-hwan had bought for her. So it turned out that Soo-min did not dislike strawberry milk, it was just that she would not drink the one I bought for her. Seeing this, Manager Kim finally could not hold back anymore and charged straight over. The manipulative fake's tricks run deep, who would ever take whom seriously. This scheming fake was seducing that sinister scumbag again. Appa, it hurts so much. Hurry and blow on it for me. Bok Min-hwan was immersed in the tender trap Soo-min had woven, completely unaware that everything they were doing here was being seen clearly by the director outside the door. When the director thought about how the woman he liked had actually chosen such a scumbag as her boyfriend, he wanted nothing more than to rush over and punch him twice to vent his anger. He absolutely had to tell Ji-won and have her break up with that trash Bok Min-hwan as soon as possible. Just then, Ji-won happened to walk over, preparing to go to the pantry, and the director immediately stopped her. He told her to have dinner with him that night because he had something very important to tell her. Although Ji-won looked confused, she still agreed to the director's request. Time passed to the evening. In a 5-star hotel, Ji-won did not understand why the director had made things so formal. Could there really be something important? At that moment, the director was a little embarrassed and for a while did not know where to begin. In the end, he still could not help but speak. Ji-won, can you stop dating Bok Min-hwan? Ji-won froze the moment she heard that. She had not expected the director to bring up this matter again, but she had her own unspeakable difficulties, so she could only politely decline the director's concern. She said that things between her and Min-hwan were very good, so there was no need to trouble the director to worry about her. The director thought to himself, "You really are a block of wood," and his mood instantly sank. Just then, Bok Min-hwan called. It turned out that during the day he had heard that the director was inviting Ji-won to dinner, and he was worried the director might take the chance to seduce Ji-won and cause some other trouble. So he hurriedly called to check up on her. But Ji-won told him not to worry, that she was already home, and told him to wash up and go to bed early too. Bok Min-hwan immediately became extremely depressed. He had not expected that one day even he would start worrying that Ji-won might be stolen away by someone else. He thought back to when Ji-won had first come to the company, when she was still a plain and unfashionable girl with glasses whom he did not think highly of at all. Back then, he had only wanted to show off in front of his coworkers. He wanted to brag about his flirting skills, so he decided to pursue Ji-won. At that time, Ji-won was so innocent she was almost foolish, and he got her number with ease. Even though she never replied to those ambiguous text messages he sent her, it had almost made him think there was no hope at all. But on that day, she actually answered my call, and she even agreed to go out to eat with me. Just like that, an utterly ordinary meal became our first date, and she officially agreed to start dating me. Thank you, Ji-won. At first, I had only wanted to show off in front of my coworkers and then dump her, but I never expected her to be so good to me. Thank you, Ji-won. You not only took care of my life, but also helped me finish my work. Even when I messed around outside, she would never notice. Looking at Ji-won's photo, Bok Min-hwan returned from his memories to reality. He watched his stock account soaring all the way in the red, thinking that if he sold in a few more days, he could make a huge profit. A bold plan then surfaced in his mind. The cruise ship is already prepared. Tomorrow I'll settle it once and for all. It's time to propose to Ji-won. Heaven had given her one chance to start over. This time, faced with this scumbag's proposal, what choice would she make? Ji-won, marry me. I'll make you happy for the rest of your life. Bok Min-hwan carefully planned a romantic proposal on a luxury cruise ship because the stock he had heavily invested in had already surged. As long as he sold the stock a few days later, the money he earned would be enough to buy a marital home. Now Ji-won had suddenly become gentle and beautiful, and the co-workers around them had also begun to develop feelings of admiration for her. So he decided to strike first, which was why he carefully arranged this proposal. Ji-won had not expected Bok Min-hwan to propose to her so quickly. Without the slightest hesitation, she directly agreed to Bok Min-hwan. Because everything was within her plan, she knew that news would soon come that the stock Bok Min-hwan had bought would run into trouble, and by then he would have nothing left. So agreeing to him now did not matter. The number you have dialed is not in service. The next day, Bok Min-hwan could no longer get through to his buddy's phone. It was that person who had told Bok Min-hwan there was insider information and told him to buy the stock. Now the stock had crashed, and that person had already run away with the money, causing all of Bok Min-hwan's money to go down the drain. Yesterday, he had proposed to Ji-won and promised to buy a house and a car, but today he was directly declaring bankruptcy. This kind of reversal in life was so extreme it was absurd. After thinking it over again and again, Bok Min-hwan decided to keep this matter hidden for now and not let Ji-won know. If he needed money, he would borrow it from his parents first. At that moment, Ji-won was happily telling everyone about being proposed to. She even deliberately showed off the big diamond ring to everyone. Everyone was shocked by Ji-won's news. No one had expected their relationship to progress so quickly. And for Jong Soo-min, this news was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. Her face instantly looked as awful as if she had swallowed a fly. She had never expected that after all her scheming to seduce Min-hwan, he would still choose Ji-won in the end. Looking at the designer bag and expensive diamond ring Bok Min-hwan had given, those things originally should have belonged to her. At this moment, Jong Soo-min was grinding her teeth in rage. Her mind started spinning frantically, thinking about how exactly to steal Bok Min-hwan away. Finally, she came up with a crazy plan, even if it meant betting her own body. At that moment, Bok Min-hwan was so anxious he was like an ant on a hot pan, and he did not even notice Ji-won walk up to him. Ji-won deliberately asked him, "Min-hwan, What's wrong with you? Why do you look so absent-minded? Bok Min-hwan immediately hid the newspaper behind his back and told Ji-won that he had just been too absorbed in reading comics. Ji-won did not continue asking. She only told him to hurry and go with her to the company dinner. Welcome. That evening, in a lively barbecue restaurant, everyone was happily eating meat and chatting. Only the director sat there in a gloomy mood. When he received a text from Huiyun and learned that Ji-won had already accepted Bok Min-hwan's proposal, his heart instantly shattered. He gazed deeply at Ji-won, unable to understand where exactly he had lost. At that moment, Jang Soo-min was enthusiastically taking the initiative to interact with Bok Min-hwan in order to seduce him. She was thinking that if she got Bok Min-hwan drunk first, she would have a chance to make something happen with him. At that moment, Ji-won decided to lend Soo-min a hand. Seeing that Soo-min was drunk, she deliberately said she would take her home. But then she put Soo-min into Bok Min-hwan's car instead. When Bok Min-hwan came over, she deliberately pretended that she had something else to do and told Bok Min-hwan to take care of Soo-min. Of course, Jang Soo-min would not let this perfect opportunity slip away. "Appa, I'm so cold. Can you help me?" She immediately put on a pitiful and seductive look. How could Bok Min-hwan possibly resist that? He looked at Soo-min's snow-white legs and involuntarily swallowed. The scumbag's true nature instantly took over, and he pounced on her directly. As the wheels rocked rhythmically, the two people inside the car were performing an ambiguous and chaotic symphony together, and Ji-won, hiding in the corner, silently watched the scene before her. Everything had happened exactly as she expected. Bok Min-hwan had ultimately cheated after all, but even though her plan had succeeded, she still felt so miserable that tears streamed down her face. Although in her previous life, she had been beaten to death by Bok Min-hwan and already hated this scumbag to the bone, she had still once fantasized in her heart that if the ending in this life could be changed, if Bok Min-hwan would not cheat, how wonderful that would be. Feeling utterly dejected, Ji-won came to a roadside stall. Perhaps only alcohol could temporarily numb her wounded heart. "Where are you?" Just then, the director called again, saying he was coming to find her. Ji-won drank more and more. She desperately wanted to get herself drunk so that she could temporarily escape this cruel reality. Just then, a large hand gripped hers. "You can't drink anymore." It turned out the director had rushed over to stop her. The director asked Ji-won why she was sitting there alone and where Bok Min-hwan and Jang Soo-min had gone. Dejectedly, Ji-won said that the two of them were now happily spending time together. Looking at the Ji-won before him, the director was speechless to the extreme. He thought, "You blockhead insist on making yourself suffer. So what can I do?" As he said this, he prepared to take Ji-won back, but Ji-won told the director not to worry about her. She said she was already tired of everything and felt that she would never love again. But the director sat down and said to Ji-won that whether one dates or not actually does not matter. As long as you can stop being so heartbroken, even if you use me, I don't mind. Ji-won smiled for a moment. This man was, indeed, still as honest as ever. No matter what she had been through, he had always remained the same, quietly standing behind her just like before. Ji-won gently leaned her body against the director's back. At this moment, silence spoke louder than words. Neither of them said anything, yet the director's back was like a towering tree, shielding her from all the wind and rain. Since being reborn, Ji-won had been busy every day scheming and fighting with Jang Soo-min. Not once had she felt as warm and peaceful as she did now. Meanwhile, in a happy motel in the city, Bok Min-hwan, exhausted after a night of intense passion, was awakened by the sunlight. Still half asleep, he had no idea where he was. When he finally saw everything clearly, he sat bolt upright in shock and at last remembered the madness of the previous night. This is bad. If this gets out, not only would Ji-won break up with him, but he would also be too ashamed to stay at the company. Brother? Along with a series of thumping sounds, the little schemer Jang Soo-min also woke up. Bok Min-hwan immediately asked Jang Soo-min, "The two of us only did this yesterday because we drank too much and weren't thinking clearly, and that's how this deep friendship happened. Can you just pretend this never happened?" The moment she heard that, Jang Soo-min immediately understood that Bok Min-hwan wanted to take advantage of her for free, so of course, she could not agree. Things had already come to this. How could she possibly pretend it never happened? As she spoke, she burst into tears and asked Bok Min-hwan with reddened eyes, "You clearly know I like you. Don't you have any feelings for me at all?" Bok Min-hwan hurriedly tried to calm Soo-min down, saying that if this matter got out, his reputation would be completely ruined, and that today he was even supposed to take Ji-won to meet his parents. Jang Soo-min also understood that she could not push him too hard, so she told Bok Min-hwan that she could keep today's incident a secret. But she had one condition. He could not abandon her and had to continue dating her. When Bok Min-hwan heard that, he actually thought this was a great deal. Soo-min was willing to let him have the best of both worlds, so he immediately agreed without hesitation. The more he thought about it, the more adorable Soo-min seemed to him. But just at that moment, Ji-won suddenly called. Bok Min-hwan quickly pinned Soo-min beneath him and told her not to make a sound, then carefully answered the phone. That's right. Ji-won told Bok Min-hwan that she had already reserved a table at Happiness Restaurant for 5 o'clock that afternoon, and that they would go meet his parents together then. When Jang Soo-min heard that phone call, she instantly became frantic. Were they really about to make it official? Then what was she supposed to do? Bok Min-hwan was actually planning to abandon her and marry Gang Ji-won. Ji-won was clearly inferior to her in every way. Thinking of this, Jang Soo-min became so angry she nearly went mad. Was everything she had done going to be wasted in the end? No, she had to stop all of this. Anyway, now I already know the time and place. Then I'll personally ruin everything completely. Just wait and see. The one who marries Bok Min-hwan in the end will definitely be me. At that moment, Ji-won was at a beauty salon getting dressed up, but she was not doing it to leave a good impression on her future in-laws, because she remembered exactly how cruel and vicious that mother-in-law had been to her in her previous life. Every day, besides going to work, she had to take care of Bok Min-hwan's daily needs. If her mother-in-law was even slightly dissatisfied, she would loudly scold her and even insult her for being a child without parents. She would never forget that humiliation. So in this life, she would never marry Bok Min-hwan again. She immediately told the stylist to give her a look that people would never forget for the rest of their lives. And when 5 o'clock in the evening arrived, Bok Min-hwan's parents were already waiting early at Happiness Restaurant. Just then, with a knock at the door, Ji-won hurried in from outside. But when the elderly couple saw Ji-won clearly, they were so shocked that they froze on the spot. At that moment, Ji-won was dressed revealingly and wearing heavy makeup. She looked like a streetwise tough woman, completely different from the gentle and elegant image Bok Min-hwan had described. Seeing such a daughter-in-law, the two elders were dumbfounded on the spot, but Ji-won merely smiled softly, because this was exactly the effect she wanted. The mother-in-law had originally prepared a whole string of compliments about how pretty Ji-won was, but now she could not say a single word, and the atmosphere instantly became awkward. She could only hurriedly change the subject. Min-hwan said, "You're a very frugal girl." The moment Ji-won heard that, she smiled and said, "Are you talking about this designer bag? Min-hwan bought me this season's newest model. Min-hwan treats me so well. If it costs tens of thousands, he still buys it without hesitation." The mother-in-law gave an awkward laugh and continued, "Then you must be very good at housework, right? Our Min-hwan needs fresh meals every time." Hearing that, Ji-won smiled even more brightly. "Of course, ma'am. Anyway, I won't need to work after I'm at home, so meals and things like that will definitely be taken care of perfectly." The mother-in-law's expression changed instantly. "What? Are you saying you plan to stay home and loaf around while waiting for Min-hwan to earn money to support you?" The father-in-law also chimed in.
How can that be?
"Once you have children, there will be lots of places where money is needed." Ji-won replied directly, "Then wouldn't it be fine if we just don't have children?"
What did you say?
Hearing that, the father-in-law flew into a rage on the spot. "You dare say in front of us that you won't have children? If I don't get a grandson, are you trying to make our family line end with us?" Ji-won immediately shot back, "My father only had one daughter, me, and didn't he still live just fine?" Hearing that, the mother-in-law sneered and said, "How could that be the same? Your father is a sinner for having a daughter." The moment Ji-won heard her father being insulted, she instantly exploded. "What do you mean, a sinner? What kind of bullshit are you even talking about, lady?" Bok Min-hwan, who was sitting beside them, was so startled by that sentence that he sprayed the tea from his mouth. "What? You actually dare call me lady? What kind of attitude is that?" That single sentence left the elderly couple utterly stunned. "What's wrong with calling you lady? I'm not marrying into this family anymore." Ji-won angrily stood up. Hearing that, Bok Min-hwan was also dumbfounded. "Hun, what nonsense are you talking about?" At this point, the elderly couple became even more furious and immediately cursed. "I told you, a child whose parents are dead is just different. No manners at all." As soon as Ji-won heard that, she fired back. "Aren't your own parents dead too? What gives you the right to say that about me?" After saying that, she turned to leave. The two elders were so enraged by Ji-won's words that they nearly collapsed on the spot. They had never expected this woman to be so formidable and immediately told Bok Min-hwan that they would never agree to this marriage. But Ji-won paid them no attention at all and continued, "Really? Then thank you so much." After saying that, she ignored Bok Min-hwan's attempts to stop her, turned around, and stormed out the door. This time, she had completely torn off all pretense with them. Ji-won had just reached the entrance of the restaurant when she noticed that the scheming little green tea girl, Soo-min, had already arrived at the hotel. Ji-won instantly laughed. Had she come again to pick up the trash Ji-won had thrown away? Leaving someone like Jang Soo-min to Bok Min-hwan was truly a case of evil people being punished by evil people. Just thinking about it made Ji-won feel satisfied. Mrs. Park was furious from being angered by Ji-won and was in the middle of questioning Bok Min-hwan about how he had found such a sharp-tongued and mean girlfriend and whether he thought she had too long to live. "Brother Min-hwan, why are you here?" Along with a soft and coquettish greeting, Jang Soo-min suddenly appeared in front of everyone as if by coincidence. "Hello, ma'am. I'm Min-hwan's co-worker, Jang Soo-min. It seems brother got his looks from you and sir, which is why he's so handsome." The moment she met them, Jang Soo-min began shamelessly flattering Mrs. Park. Hearing all of Soo-min's praise, Mrs. Park instantly smiled from ear to ear and thought to herself how sensible this young girl was. Jang Soo-min deliberately told Bok Min-hwan that she needed to go home to cook, so she would take her leave first. The moment Mrs. Park heard that Soo-min even liked cooking, a thought instantly popped into her head. what a treasure of a girl this was. Compared with that Ji-won from earlier, she was simply much better, so she immediately invited Sumin to stay and eat with them. Sumin pretended to decline politely a few times, then quickly agreed. But Bok Min-hwan was completely dumbstruck. The situation had already developed far beyond his control. Sumin deliberately put on a polite and sensible appearance, forming a sharp contrast with the assertive Ji-won from earlier. Even Mr. Park nodded to himself secretly, thinking that a woman like this was the kind who should become their daughter-in-law. Jong Sumin had not expected that once she started acting, things would go this smoothly, and she had already begun secretly congratulating herself. After that meal ended, Bok Min-hwan began desperately trying to contact Ji-won again. While defending his parents, he also hoped that Ji-won would change her mind. As Ji-won looked at the messages he sent, her heart did not waver in the slightest. The only thing she thought was, save those lies for Jong Sumin. Ever since that dinner gathering, Bok Min-hwan could not even resist running to the motel to fool around with Jong Sumin during his work hours outside the office. When Jong Sumin saw that Bok Min-hwan wanted to leave right after getting what he wanted, she immediately acted spoiled and asked him to stay with her a little longer. But the moment marriage was mentioned, Bok Min-hwan told her that he still had wedding preparations to make and many things to take care of. The moment Jong Sumin heard that, she froze completely. Wasn't your marriage with Ji-won already ruined? Then what are you still preparing for? Bok Min-hwan directly told Sumin that the person he loved was still Ji-won, and as for her, she was nothing more than someone to play around with. Hearing that sentence, Sumin felt as if she had been struck by a bolt from the blue and stood there frozen on the spot. So this man, Bok Min-hwan, had really treated her as nothing but a toy from beginning to end. She trembled with rage. She had given so much, yet the person in Bok Min-hwan's heart was still Ji-won. But Bok Min-hwan did not care at all how Jong Sumin felt. He put on his clothes and left at once. At that thought, a scheme immediately came to her mind, and she directly picked up her phone and started carrying out her plan. Ji-won suddenly received a call. When she listened calmly, it turned out to be from her high school classmate Ji. Ji-won, this is bad. I just got news that Jong Sumin asked for the number of Jim Tae-sung, the school delinquent. At the last class reunion, Jim Tae-sung had already taken a lecherous interest in you. This time, he's probably coming for you too. After hearing that, Ji-won felt the other person's words made a lot of sense. Jong Sumin was probably planning to stab her in the back again, so it seemed she had to prepare in advance. That evening, after getting off work, Ji-won was walking home, and the wide road was completely empty. Suddenly, Gang Ji-won was stopped by a man's voice. Jim Tae-sung came darting out from who knew what corner. I didn't expect you to contact me first. As soon as I got your message, I came right away. Ji-won looked completely confused. Hey, are you mistaken? When did I ever contact you? Just then, Bok Min-hwan also rushed over after receiving a message. Sitting in the car, he watched Ji-won talking to another man and trembled with anger. Who the hell is that man? This gang Ji-won won't answer my calls or reply to my messages, yet she's secretly meeting another man right in front of her house. I even specially prepared so many gifts to come apologize. The sausage-lipped Jong Sumin appeared out of nowhere again. I know that guy is Ji-won's high school classmate. Ever since the last reunion, the two of them have already been fooling around. Do you think he's the only one? Ji-won and someone named Baek Eun-ho like each other too. Bok Min-hwan instantly flew into a rage. What the hell are you talking about? Ji-won only likes me. Brother, you still don't know, do you? Ji-won's mother ran off with another man after cheating. If her mother was that kind of person, what good could the daughter she gave birth to possibly be? Jong Sumin spoke in such a convincing and serious manner that for a moment Bok Min-hwan could not tell whether it was true or false. Ji-won and I have been childhood friends. How could I not know? Brother, let's just go. Instead of staying here watching her secretly meet another man, wouldn't it be better for us to find somewhere and have fun playing cards together? Bok Min-hwan completely believed Jong Sumin's words and drove off at once. Meanwhile, Ji-won was still trying to explain, Jim Tae-sung, I really never contacted you. What? How is that possible? Look at this text message. It was clearly you saying you liked me and telling me to come find you, and now you're saying it wasn't you? How is that possible? Ji-won immediately showed him her phone. Look, the last digits of my number are 111. The person who texted you wasn't me at all. Someone was impersonating me to contact you. Damn it, are you playing me? You called me all the way here, and now you still want me to leave? You little brat, you've really gotten arrogant now. What's so great about you? Since you came today, don't even think about leaving. Let's first find a quiet place and have a really good time. But Ji-won was not flustered at all, and only warned him coldly. Let go of me right now. Suddenly, along with a scream, Jim Tae-sung was instantly subdued on the spot. The person who came was tall and imposing, with a powerful presence. It was none other than Ji-won's boyfriend, the soldier Yoo Ji-hyuk. Ji-won, are you okay? Director Yoo made a handsome entrance. It turned out that after Ji-won received the call, she had already guessed that Jong Sumin would definitely use Jim Tae-sung to harm her. So she told the director about the situation in advance. The moment the director heard that Ji-won wanted him to act as her bodyguard, of course he agreed immediately. Jim Tae-sung had not expected Ji-won to actually have a boyfriend, and he started cursing furiously on the spot. Director Yoo was already furious because he had bullied Ji-won. Now that he had been subdued and still had such a filthy mouth, The director was completely enraged at once. After one round of the director's grappling moves, Jim Taesung felt like all the bones in his body were about to be rearranged. After getting beaten badly, Jim Taesung howled in pain. "Don't worry, if anything's broken, you can contact me. I won't be short a single penny for the medical expenses." As those caring words from the director fell, one of his large hands naturally landed on Ji-won's shoulder and gently drew her into his arms. That instantly made her a little shy. With this man around, no matter what schemes and tricks there are, I don't have to be afraid anymore. Ji-won got into the director's car, thinking he would take her straight home. But unexpectedly, the car finally stopped in front of a hotel. Ji-won asked awkwardly, "Isn't this a hotel?" Ji-won did not understand why they had come to a hotel, so the director told her, "Your home address has already been exposed. It'll be safer for you to stay at a hotel tonight. I'll come pick you up again tomorrow morning." Ji-won immediately shook her head and told the director there was no need to go to so much trouble. She could just go back by herself tomorrow morning. The director said helplessly, "Didn't you ask me to pretend to be your boyfriend? What kind of boyfriend drops you off at a hotel entrance and then lets you go back alone?" The moment Ji-won heard that, she immediately retorted, "Then by your logic, wouldn't it be even stranger to let your girlfriend stay alone in a hotel?" The moment the words came out, Ji-won realized she had misspoken and instantly became so embarrassed that she could not say another word. "So that's what you were thinking? Then I'll go in with you too." "Excuse me. Please book 2 adjacent rooms for me." Ji-won froze for a moment. "Why book 2 rooms? Wouldn't 1 room be enough? Don't you know I need to stay too?" "Are you sure? 1 room? Then let's make it 2 rooms." "Yes, 2 rooms." The receptionist was speechless on the spot, completely unable to understand what kind of act these two were putting on. Only after confirming that Ji-won had entered her room did the director feel slightly relieved. Immediately after that, he picked up the phone and started calling his people. "All of you, gather in the first floor lobby right away." Very quickly, a group of subordinates arrived downstairs. "How was that guy dealt with?" "Don't worry, boss. We already taught that guy a lesson. He definitely won't dare show up around here again." "What do you mean, big brother? I'm not some thug. Just call me boss." "By the way, boss, we've already found out. It was Jong Soo-min who impersonated Ji-won and sent the text messages to Jim Taesung. So it was that woman Jong Soo-min causing trouble again?" The director's expression instantly darkened. The director had thought he had arranged everything properly and was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. But then he suddenly remembered that he had overlooked something very important, and he was so startled that he stood up at once. Seeing the usually composed director act so abnormally, his subordinates thought he might be having a sudden stroke. It turned out that the director had suddenly realized Ji-won might not have eaten dinner yet that night, and he instantly felt terribly guilty. It was obvious that his concern for Ji-won had long since been etched deep into his bones. What does Miss Ji-won like to eat? It's already so late. Will she not want to eat anymore? The director anxiously knocked on Ji-won's door. "I just finished showering. What did you need me for?" The director was shy like an 18-year-old boy. In a small voice, he asked, "You haven't had dinner yet, right? Is there anything you want to eat?" Ji-won thought for a moment and told the director that she wanted pork soup with rice. But just at that moment, a large moth suddenly flew over and landed directly on Ji-won's head. Women often have an instinctive fear of bugs, and Ji-won was so frightened by the moth that she instantly panicked and began wildly brushing at her body. The director could only worry helplessly from the side, having no idea how to help her at all. Because Ji-won had just finished showering, the floor was wet everywhere. She lost her footing, and her whole body slipped. Ji-won suddenly lost her balance. In her panic, she actually grabbed the director's tie. The two of them fell together just like that, and in the process of falling, they also happened to hit the light switch. The two people in the darkness ended up lying together like that, looking at each other in an extremely intimate and strange position. Both their faces flushed red involuntarily. They were so close that it felt as if they could hear each other's heartbeats with perfect clarity. An hour later, Ji-won lay shyly to one side, but the director was not lying beside her. Ji-won recalled that moment of extreme intimacy with the director just now. She was so embarrassed that she buried her entire body under the blanket. At that moment, she was probably also regretting why she had not been just a little braver. Perhaps the ending would have been completely different. At the same time, the director was still immersed in the memory of that very scene. Tossing and turning, he was unable to fall asleep for a long, long time. That night, the two people sleeping in different beds were both unable to sleep. The next morning, when they woke up, both of them had dark circles under their eyes and looked like a pair of national treasures. Ji-won, eat breakfast first. The director thoughtfully placed breakfast in front of her and even said that this was what a boyfriend should do. The moment Ji-won heard that, she instantly panicked. She had only asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend temporarily, but unexpectedly, the director was so immersed in the role that he had no intention of stepping out of it. The director immediately said that he had only been joking just now. But when Ji-won looked at the director's expression, she suddenly froze and blurted out, "Director, you kind of look like a dog." The director was petrified on the spot when he heard that sentence. What kind of experience is it to be told by the woman you like, "You look like a dog"? When the director heard Ji-won say that, he froze on the spot, thinking he was being insulted, and his heart almost shattered. At that moment, Ji-won hurriedly explained, "And no, what I mean by dog is the kind of really big dog, like a Labrador, big, smart, obedient, and super cute. Only after Ji-won finished speaking did she belatedly realize that this comparison did not seem quite right. Hearing Ji-won call him cute, the director was already overjoyed. As for whether he looked like a dog or not, it did not matter at all, as long as she was happy. At that moment, Ji-won told the director that she was already preparing to move. Hui-yun had introduced her to a pretty good place. Not only was it spacious and comfortable, but its security system was also excellent, so she would not need to worry about them coming to harass her again. After hearing Hui-yun's introduction, no one immediately decided to move there. And just after Ji-won had barely finished moving into her new place, Bak Min-hwan came looking for her. Who would have thought that after he rang the doorbell, a man's voice came from inside the house? Bak Min-hwan instantly flew into a rage. Damn it! Gang Ji-won was actually living together with another man. Which bastard is it? Get the hell out here right now. The person who opened the door was actually a hulking man like an iron tower. Where did this punk come from? Running here in the middle of the night making a scene. Are you tired of living? The moment Bak Min-hwan saw the man's build, he immediately backed down. What the hell? How could someone be built like this? Only after asking did he find out that this burly man had also just moved there today. Bak Min-hwan still wanted to use the chance to ask where Ji-won lived, but the other party could not even be bothered to pay attention to him. He directly told Bak Min-hwan to get lost. Bak Min-hwan was so angry, he was practically fuming from all 7 orifices. He had not expected Ji-won to move without even telling him, so he immediately called Ji-won and demanded an explanation. I can forgive the matter of you meeting someone. Gang Ji-won, the way you were rude to my mother and the way you privately met another man. As long as you apologize to me, I'll forgive you. Hurry up and contact me. Ji-won could not believe that even at a time like this, Bak Min-hwan was still so self-righteous and even wanted her to apologize. She could not even be bothered to respond and just hung up the phone. At that moment, her stomach also began growling. It turned out that she had been so busy moving all day that she had not even had time to eat. Just then, the director happened to send her a text saying that he was bringing her pork soup with rice. And the moment the text arrived, the doorbell had already rung. As soon as Ji-won opened the door, she had not expected the director to arrive so quickly. Not only had he brought dinner, but even his pet had come along with him. At first sight, Ji-won fell in love with the cat named Xiaopeng. She curiously asked the director where he had come from and why even Xiaopeng had come with him. The director awkwardly pointed toward next door. Ji-won looked at the open door of the neighboring apartment and froze on the spot. I'm sorry I didn't tell you in advance. Actually, I'm your neighbor. For a moment, Ji-won could not process it at all. What? How could this be? Ji-won herself could not tell whether she was happy or upset. After learning the truth, she let out a cry of collapse. The director did not give Ji-won time to keep overthinking and immediately placed the lovingly prepared dinner into her hands. After learning that the director had already eaten, Ji-won was about to go back and eat by herself. But at that moment, the cat Xiaopeng was unwilling to let Ji-won leave. Ji-won immediately began soothing Xiaopeng. This cat was just too adorable. If only she could pet it a little longer. Seeing how reluctant she was, the director said that if she wanted, she could take Xiaopeng back with her to play for a while. That's wonderful, really? Then director, come in and sit for a while too. Faced with an invitation like that, of course the director could not refuse. It was just that this smell was really overwhelming. Looking at such a lavish serving of pork soup with rice, not only was it served in a stone pot, it even came with a full set of side dishes. Ji-won asked the director in disbelief whether this was really takeout. Had the food industry become this competitive now? The director explained awkwardly, this is probably the nostalgic style that's popular lately. I heard this restaurant is pretty famous. If that's the case, then I'll try it. Ji-won took one bite and instantly froze. The nervous director was waiting for a word of approval from her. This is way too delicious. It tastes exactly like the food from my hometown. Seeing that Ji-won liked it, the director was overjoyed. Who would have thought that a bowl of pork soup with rice had actually been specially arranged by him to be rushed all the way from Ji-won's hometown? So of course it tasted exactly the same. After finishing the meal, Ji-won was still reluctant to part with Xiaopeng. The director told her that if she wanted to pet the cat, she could come over and play anytime. If that's the case, then I can come play with Xiaopeng every day. When the director heard Ji-won say she wanted to come over to his place, he was so excited he nearly took off on the spot. The director had not expected Xiaopeng to like Ji-won this much. Could it be that you still remember that she's your lifesaver? On the second day back at work, Ji-won and assistant manager Yang went to the supermarket early in the morning to check how the new product was selling. After all, this was one of the company's key projects, and if they did well, promotion and a raise would be no problem. But after searching the shelves for a long time, they could not find even a trace of the new product. In the end, they discovered that not only was the new product nowhere to be seen, even the old products were not stocked in the supermarket at all. Both of them were completely confused by what the supermarket had done. What on earth was going on? Assistant manager Yang immediately went to ask a supermarket employee. As soon as the other party heard that they were UK employees, his face darkened immediately. You still dare to come here? Then he told them about how Jong Soo-min had caused a customer to have a food allergy last time and said that now all of their products had been blacklisted by the supermarket. Assistant manager Yang had never imagined that Jong Soo-min had caused such a huge disaster and that she had never mentioned it. She instantly instantly flew into a rage and stormed off to find Jong Soo-min. But Jong Soo-min immediately played dumb. I don't know what you're talking about. The commotion here became so big that even the department head was alerted. Assistant Manager Yang then told the department head about the trouble Jong Soo-min had caused. Miss Jong Soo-min, what exactly is going on here? Hearing the department head's questioning, Jong Soo-min had already begun trembling. She was just thinking about how to shift the blame onto Ji-won, and the next second she burst into tears and said pitifully, I only kept quiet because I was worried about Ji-won. Ji-won never told me the precautions, so that's why I let the customer eat food that caused an allergic reaction. The scheming Jong Soo-min pushed all the blame onto Ji-won. At the same time, she disguised herself as the victim to win everyone's sympathy. The department head and assistant manager Yang immediately asked Ji-won whether what Jong Soo-min said was true. But at this moment, Ji-won did not rush to explain herself. She simply told everyone, I don't remember. When Jong Soo-min saw that Ji-won was not defending herself, she was secretly overjoyed and instantly turned on the drama. Department head, please don't blame Ji-won. If anyone should be punished, punish me. The department head could hardly believe it and asked Ji-won again, you really don't remember? With a trace of regret, Ji-won said, it's been so long. Of course I don't remember, so let's just check the surveillance footage directly. When Jong Soo-min heard this, it was like being struck by lightning. She froze on the spot. Ji-won then said calmly, since this was such an important project, of course, I was extra careful. I saved all the surveillance footage of the entire process onto a USB drive. Ji-won immediately opened the surveillance recording from that time. From the footage, it could be clearly seen that Ji-won had already explained all the precautions to Jong Soo-min back then. Now that the evidence was right in front of them, Jong Soo-min could no longer argue her way out of it. The department head immediately began holding Bok Min-hwan and Jong Soo-min accountable. But even at this moment, Jong Soo-min was still thinking about how to get herself out of trouble. So she pushed the blame onto Bok Min-hwan again. It was Assistant Manager Park who told me to keep this matter hidden. As long as we didn't say anything, no one would know. She forced me. As she spoke about her sorrow, Jong Soo-min even choked up for a moment. Bok Min-hwan had never imagined that Jong Soo-min could act this well. This was absolutely award-winning actress level. He instantly exploded in anger. This crazy woman actually wanted to make him take the fall. Damn it, he really wanted to beat her flat. Department head Lu was truly speechless with the two of them, each telling a different story. So he simply told them to write down the full details of what happened and hand them in. Afterward, Bok Min-hwan immediately went to confront Jong Soo-min. I worked so hard to help you, and then you stabbed me in the back. But Jong Soo-min told him that if he did not take the blame for her, then she definitely would not be able to become a permanent employee. After hearing this, Bok Min-hwan laughed instead. Forget becoming permanent. At this rate, you won't even be able to stay on as a temp for a few more days. Jong Soo-min was completely stunned.
What do you mean by that?
Bok Min-hwan immediately told her, you won't receive any punishment this time because there was no need anymore. Hearing this, Jong Soo-min started trembling with rage. This trash company orders me around like this and still won't make me permanent. I'm definitely going to get revenge on all of you. An evil thought arose in Jong Soo-min's heart, and another crazy plan popped into her mind. She immediately called the allergic customer. Hello, customer. I'm a staff member from UK. The previous incident was our mistake. To express my apology, we would like to send you a gift. A week later, Jong Soo-min received a call from that customer. The person on the other end roared angrily. Are you trying to kill me? You knew I'm allergic to peanuts, and yet you sent me a salad containing peanuts. Jong Soo-min said maliciously, don't you like free things? Then I'll let you eat your fill. If you eat enough, you'll get used to it. You crazy woman. Where are you right now? Just wait and see how I deal with you. You want to come find me? I'll be waiting at UK headquarters. My name is Yang Ju-ran. Jong Soo-min's plan had succeeded. She had completely enraged the customer, and he would definitely go looking for assistant manager Yang to settle the score. Jong Soo-min even thoughtfully sent Bok Min-hwan a text message, reminding him, Appa, you'd better step out for a while now. Someone will be coming to cause trouble at the company very soon. That morning, everyone was still wondering why Jong Soo-min had not come to work. Just then, an angry roar suddenly rang out. Yang Ju-ran, you damn woman. Get out here right now. When they turned around, that customer had already come to the door in a furious rage. He had also thrown the package Jong Soo-min sent all over the floor. At this moment, assistant manager Yang still did not know what had happened and was just about to walk over to take a look. I'm Yang Ju-ran. The customer instantly became even angrier. So you're Yang Ju-ran? You used food to harm me, and now you ask me what's wrong? Aren't these the things you sent me? I think you were trying to kill me. Assistant manager Yang was completely dumbfounded. I have never sent anything like this. Someone must have used my name to send it out. Ji-won immediately thought of that lunatic Jong Soo-min. After causing such a huge mess, she definitely had no intention of ever coming back to the company. Ji-won immediately told assistant manager Yang to avoid him for the moment. After all, a wise person does not suffer an immediate loss. When the customer saw that assistant manager Yang was about to leave, he became even more furious in an instant. He raised his hand, wanting to teach this woman a harsh lesson. Seeing such a violent scene, Ji-won became frightened at once. In her previous life, This was exactly how Bok Min-hwan had slapped her to death. That familiar sense of fear instantly swept through her whole body. But this time, she did not choose to back down. She immediately stepped in front of Assistant Manager Yang. "Please calm down first. And who are you? You'd better stay out of this. Who exactly was that crazy woman who called me?" Ji-won patiently explained to him. Assistant Manager Yang didn't send this package. It was someone else. Ji-won immediately told him, "I will definitely find that person and make her kneel down and apologize to you." But the customer did not believe her at all. "Do you think you're the person in charge? You think a few empty words can brush me off?" Seeing Ji-won being put on the spot, the department head hurried over immediately. "Miss Gang Ji-won, lift your head. I'm the person in charge here. Whatever dissatisfaction you have, you can talk to me." The customer was intimidated by department head Lu's powerful presence. Seeing that a senior leader had stepped in, he immediately agreed to calmly negotiate a solution. The department head immediately asked Ji-won whether Jong Soo-min could no longer be contacted. Ji-won told him that Jong Soo-min was probably not coming back, but that she had a way to find her. While the company was in complete chaos, the mastermind, Jong Soo-min, was happily getting her hair permed in a salon. After taking revenge on Ji-won and the others, Jong Soo-min was in an unbelievably good mood. But right at that moment, she received a text message. Her mother told her, "You've caused a huge disaster out there. This time the company has even called the house. Get back to the company right away." The moment Jong Soo-min thought of her mother's nagging face, she felt extremely irritated. In her eyes, the woman knew how to do nothing except blame her.
I've really had enough of this family.
Forget it. Let her do whatever she wants. As long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. Just then, a call suddenly came in from Baek Eun-ho. Faced with the man she had once had a crush on, Jong Soo-min picked up immediately. "Soo-min, are you free to meet me now? There are some things about Ji-won I want to ask you about." Of course, Jong Soo-min would not let go of any chance to smear Ji-won. She arrived at the agreed place right on time. But the moment she pushed the door open, she froze completely. Ji-won said coldly, "You've finally come. It's been so hard trying to find you. If I hadn't asked Baek Eun-ho to lure you out, I probably wouldn't have been able to see you again." Soo-min immediately said aggrievedly, "You were clearly my only friend, but you were always with other people and never cared about me. So that's why I didn't want to go to work." Ji-won had never expected that even at a time like this, Jong Soo-min would still be talking nonsense. "Stop saying this pointless stuff. I asked you here today for serious business. This is your notice of dismissal. The reason is unauthorized absence from work. Very soon, you will also receive a letter from the company's lawyer. You sent that package, didn't you? You will bear legal responsibility for this matter." But Jong Soo-min immediately denied it. "I didn't go to work because I have depression." "What package?" "I have no idea." Ji-won immediately said, "It's best if it wasn't you. But the legal department seems to be preparing to submit the call records between you and the customer as evidence, so I was worried for you." That single sentence from Ji-won instantly scared Jong Soo-min silly. "Well, Ji-won, I thought about it carefully and I think I really did send a package. I sent a box of food in Assistant Manager Yang's name. Maybe I accidentally packed the wrong box, so that's why he received spoiled food. Bun, can you help me just this once? In that case, come with me to the hospital tomorrow and apologize. As long as you're willing to apologize, maybe I can still help you." The next day, the two of them arrived at the hospital. Ji-won immediately forced Jong Soo-min to kneel and apologize. Jong Soo-min was unwilling in every possible way. She hesitated for a long time before finally squeezing out a single apology. Seeing how unwilling she was, the customer became even angrier. "Is that your attitude when apologizing?" Jong Soo-min immediately retorted furiously, "You were the one who called and yelled at me first, so why should I apologize?" Just then, the department head came to visit the customer with Bok Min-hwan as well. Jong Soo-min immediately called for help. "Oppa Bok Min-hwan, help me." But Bok Min-hwan did not even spare her a glance. At this moment, the customer immediately began loudly berating Jong Soo-min again. Seeing that Bok Min-hwan refused to help her, Jong Soo-min instantly burst into tears again, but another new plan emerged in her heart.
I'm really sorry.
"I lost control of my emotions because I recently found out I'm pregnant. Jong Soo-min is pregnant." The moment those words came out, both Ji-won and Bok Min-hwan were stunned. Ji-won was dumbfounded when she heard it. "Jong Soo-min, aren't you just talking nonsense? You don't even have a boyfriend. How could you possibly be pregnant?" With an innocent face, Jong Soo-min said, "Ji-won, I'm going to tell you the truth, so don't get angry, okay? Actually, I'm pregnant with Bok Min-hwan's child, and we've already decided to get married. As my best friend, you'll forgive me, right?" After hearing this, Ji-won deliberately put on an expression of extreme shock. She looked so heartbroken and despairing that even her body trembled. She was so upset that she could not even say a complete sentence. She quickly walked away at once, leaving behind only a lonely silhouette. When Jong Soo-min saw Ji-won looking hurt, she was so happy that she nearly cried tears of joy. "Gang Ji-won, who told you to act so high and mighty all day? Now you can't even say a single word, can you? I, Jong Soo-min, will not only take everything from you, I will also control your life." The more miserable Ji-won was, the happier Jong Soo-min became. At this moment, she felt an unprecedented sense of exhilaration. As for Bok Min-hwan, who had suddenly become a father-to-be, he was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. He called Ji-won hundreds of times before finally getting through. Listen to my explanation. Don't listen to Jong Soo-min's nonsense. I'll go get a paternity test with her right away. Ji-won said calmly, whether you get a paternity test or not has nothing to do with me anymore. From now on, I won't be taking your calls either. Bok Min-hwan had not expected that this time Ji-won was truly determined to cut ties with him. Do-won, then let me ask you one last favor. Can you not tell anyone about this? Otherwise, I really won't be able to show my face at the company. Ji-won laughed when she heard that. So this is what you're worried about. Don't worry. I'm not interested at all in your filthy affairs. After saying that, she hung up directly. At a time like this selfish jerk still only cared about his own reputation. After finishing the call with Ji-won, Bok Min-hwan hurriedly called Jong Soo-min again. He shouted angrily, "Jong Soo-min, you lunatic. What exactly did you say to Ji-won that made her ignore me now?" But at this moment, the voice on the other end was Mother Park's. "Hello, Min-hwan. What's wrong with you? How can you yell at a pregnant woman? Soo-min has already moved into our house now, and I'm rushing to prepare your wedding here." Mother Park was immersed in the joy of becoming a grandmother soon, and she simply would not listen to Bok Min-hwan's objections. She insisted on having Jong Soo-min move into the house. At this point, Jong Soo-min was even more pleased with herself. Everything was progressing very smoothly. After moving into the Park household, Mother Park served Jong Soo-min lavish meals of fish and meat every day, only hoping that she would give birth to a big, healthy boy. Having grown up in a single-parent family, Jong Soo-min had never experienced such warmth before, compared with her own harsh mother. Maybe this was what real family felt like. "Thank you, mother. Soo-min is really so full. What are you thanking me for? This is all food my grandson should be eating. Come on, you still have to drink this too." Before Jong Soo-min could be happy for long, Mother Park directly brought out a family secret remedy, a bag of foul-smelling carp juice. "Hurry and drink this. I heard it's especially good for having a boy." As soon as Jong Soo-min smelled it, she nearly threw up on the spot. Could this be aged carp juice? This scheming little bitch was simply too arrogant. Not only had she successfully stolen the heroine's boyfriend with a fake pregnancy, she even wanted to send an invitation and have her come to the wedding. Since Jong Soo-min wanted to humiliate me to my face, then I'll play along and turn the tables. Ji-won decided to prepare a surprise for Jong Soo-min. The next day, Jong Soo-min arrived at the restaurant Ji-won had booked, just as agreed. But the moment she went in, she froze completely. Ji-won had actually called all of their coworkers over. Everyone looked at Soo-min as if she were a clown. Ever since she was fired by the company for retaliating against a customer last time, she had never imagined she would ever see this group of coworkers again. At this moment, every face was filled with disgust. "Jong Soo-min, how do you still have the nerve to come?" Even Bok Min-hwan looked awkward. Jong Soo-min immediately demanded to know what exactly was going on. Holding Soo-min's hand warmly, Ji-won explained to everyone, although things were a little unpleasant between Soo-min and everyone when she left the company, she said she has good news to share with everyone today. At this point, Jong Soo-min was so angry, she was nearly fainting. "Gang Ji-won actually dared to humiliate me in public. But do you think I would let people plot against me obediently like you loser?" At this moment, Bok Min-hwan told her, "You should make an excuse to go to the restroom and then quietly slip away." Jong Soo-min completely lost her temper. "When have I ever suffered this kind of humiliation?" Finally, unable to endure it any longer, she stood up directly. "Today, I want to share some good news with everyone. Actually, I'm getting married." "You're getting married to whom?" The co-workers were all stunned by the news. Could it be manager Kim? They had never heard him mention it. Jong Soo-min directly took out the wedding invitation. "I'm marrying Bok Min-hwan." Everyone was completely shaken by this huge piece of gossip. The gossip-loving Hui-yun froze on the spot, but Bok Min-hwan looked deeply embarrassed. This was just too humiliating. Only Ji-won looked calm and unbothered, because this was exactly the result she had wanted to see. Jong Soo-min deliberately handed the invitation to Ji-won and even asked her to come catch her bouquet on the wedding day. But faced with Jong Soo-min's humiliation, Ji-won did not care at all and instead smilingly agreed. When she saw Ji-won acting as though nothing was wrong, Jong Soo-min instantly felt terrible. What was wrong here? How could she not feel even the slightest sadness or pain? Jong Soo-min could no longer feel the joy of victory at all. Back in the car, the furious Bok Min-hwan punched the steering wheel. Today, Jong Soo-min had made him lose face to the utmost extent. Seeing him angry, Jong Soo-min immediately explained, "Ji-won must have set this up today. I only meant to give her the wedding invitation, but she deliberately called me here." "You're saying Ji-won didn't tell you today was a group dinner and just called you here directly?" Seeing that Bok Min-hwan understood, Jong Soo-min immediately nodded. But unexpectedly, after hearing this, Bok Min-hwan became even angrier. He immediately shouted at Jong Soo-min, "Ji-won must love me too much. You must have provoked her. She must have been so heartbroken to do something like this." Jong Soo-min was stunned after hearing this. What kind of situation is this? Are you putting yourself in her shoes now? Why is Ji-won all you can think about? Am I really making the right choice by marrying someone like this? Could the second half of my life end up as miserable as my tragic childhood? The more Jong Soo-min thought about it, the more frightened she became. She knew that she could not anger Bok Min-hwan now, because he was her only way out. So all she could say to Bok Min-hwan was, "Appa, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Let's hurry home. Even the baby in my belly is tired." Ji-won had not expected that Jong Soo-min could be so arrogant to this extent. It seemed she really needed to give her performance a proper round of applause. So she immediately asked the department head, "May I borrow you one more time?" The department head had not expected such a good thing. He immediately agreed happily. At the grand hall, Jong Soo-min's wedding day had finally arrived. Mother Park really had gone all out for this daughter-in-law. Dressed in the wedding gown that Mother Park had carefully chosen, Jong Soo-min looked like a mummy. And Mother Park would not even allow the makeup artist to put makeup on her because cosmetics were not good for the little general in her belly. Jong Soo-min felt like crying without tears. Am I really the happiest person in the world today? Watching them take care of everything from start to finish in one go. At least she did not have to work so hard herself. Jong Soo-min could only endure it and hope that her married life would be happy and fulfilling. Although this outfit was unbelievably tacky, she was naturally beautiful after all, no matter what. Today's main character was me. Bok Min-hwan was in the hall welcoming the guests. Suddenly, a friend asked him, "Why has no one from the bride's side come?" Bok Min-hwan awkwardly replied, "Don't expect anyone. She has no friends." At that moment, the friend said, "Then this beauty isn't one either?" Where everyone's eyes turned, a perfectly matched pair was slowly walking over. When Bok Min-hwan saw the two of them, he froze completely. The handsome department head appeared arm in arm with the breathtakingly beautiful Ji-won. Bok Min-hwan instantly felt overwhelmed with jealousy, and it seemed his spotlight had been completely stolen. He was clearly the groom, but looked more like a groomsman. Assistant Manager Park, congratulations to you both. Happy wedding. Ji-won's smile was especially radiant, as if she were even happier than at her own wedding. Bok Min-hwan was completely dumbfounded. When exactly had these two gotten together? He could only awkwardly accept their congratulations. As for how bitter he felt inside, probably only he himself knew. And after seeing Ji-won, his friend stared with eyes wide open. "Why have you never told me you had such a beautiful coworker? It's a pleasure to meet you. I wonder if I might have the honor of knowing this beauty's name?" Ji-won said openly, "My name is Gang Ji-won. I'm Bok Min-hwan's coworker." The friend paused in surprise after hearing that. "You're Gang Ji-won? I think I've heard Min-hwan mention you before. Could it be that your company has two Gang Ji-wons?" "Unfortunately, there is only one Gang Ji-won in the company. Let's go inside." Bok Min-hwan, is there something wrong with your eyes? Didn't you say Gang Ji-won was tacky? You even said you were too embarrassed to introduce her to us. You actually rejected a beauty on this level. And now look at your wife. Sigh, never mind, I'm going in first. Those few words from his friend instantly pierced Bok Min-hwan's heart. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, until his whole body trembled with rage. Gang Ji-won was supposed to be my woman. How did things end up like this? She looked at Jong Soo-min sitting all alone in the dressing room like a doll, without even a single friend or relative by her side. Ji-won still could not help walking in. She really wanted to know what Jong Soo-min was feeling now. When Jong Soo-min saw that the person who came was Ji-won, she was originally happy and wanted to show off to her. But the moment she saw how beautifully Ji-won was dressed, she instantly felt upset. She thought to herself, "Did you dress like this on purpose just to ruin my day?" But on the surface, she still pretended to be happy. "Won, what do you think of my wedding dress? Is it pretty?" Holding back her laughter, Ji-won said, "Whether it's pretty or not aside, all I can say is that this wedding dress really suits you." Thinking back to her previous life, the person who wore this unbelievably tacky wedding dress had been herself, and the man she married had also been that scumbag Bok Min-hwan. Now, looking again at Jong Soo-min's self-satisfied expression, all that could be said was, "What goes around comes around, and heaven spares no one." As Ji-won had just stepped outside, a man called out to her. The person who had come was none other than Baek Eun-ho, the campus heartthrob from their school days. "I heard about what happened to you from GI, and I was thinking of coming over to back you up, but I didn't expect you to already have a knight by your side. He must be full of hostility toward me right now. If I'd known this, I wouldn't have come. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to give gift money to someone like Jong Soo-min." Ji-won replied graciously, "It's okay, it's okay. What happened in the past is already in the past." Baek Eun-ho had not expected Ji-won to be so magnanimous. He then told Ji-won that several other classmates would also be coming. "I told them that Jong Soo-min stole your fiancé, so I guess they came today to stand up for you." As soon as Ji-won heard that those troublesome classmates were coming too, she instantly felt that there would definitely be quite a show today. "Ji-won, Ji, we're here." Seeing the people who walked in, the Park family's relatives immediately began whispering among themselves. Ji-won was so startled that she froze on the spot. Big sunglasses, little tank tops, oversized sneakers. Evil in the name of love and truth, yet cute and charming villains. The three oddly dressed nightclub queen bees made a dazzling entrance. Ji-won had not expected everyone to go this far for her, and she was instantly deeply moved. One classmate said to Ji-won later, "Just pretend you don't know us. We came today specifically to support Jong Soo-min. Since they dared to betray you, they have to be made to pay for it." The wedding officially began. Bok Min-hwan walked stiffly alongside Jong Soo-min down the runway. The applause from the audience was sparse and scattered. Looking at the two of them, Ji-won fell into thought. If nothing unexpected happened, the place they were walking toward together would be hell. At that moment, the photographer said toward the stage, "Are you friends of the bride? Please don't interfere with the shoot. We're not just friends. We're childhood friends who grew up running around naked together." At that moment, the three nightclub sisters were making a huge commotion. "Jong Soo-min, congratulations, congratulations. Wishing you happiness year after year, day after day." Jong Soo-min was so furious that her mouth practically twisted. Where on earth did these people come from? I never invited them. The Park family's relatives had already started whispering nonstop, gossip spreading everywhere, and Bok Min-hwan was so embarrassed he looked like he was about to explode on the spot. No matter how few friends Jong Soo-min had, she shouldn't have invited people like this. They must have been brought here by Ji-won on purpose to humiliate me. At that moment, Jong Soo-min hated Ji-won to the core and wanted nothing more than to smash the bouquet right onto her head. The bouquet was thrown high into the air, and yet Ji-won caught it firmly. Ji-won thanked them graciously and appropriately. "I sincerely wish you both a happy marriage." Ji-won was so beautiful that even Bok Min-hwan stared blankly at her. If the person marrying me were Ji-won, how wonderful that would be. He unconsciously swallowed, completely forgetting that he was still standing at his own wedding. At that moment, Jong Soo-min could only swallow her shattered pride and suffer in silence. If the photographer had not reminded them that it was time to kiss, Bok Min-hwan probably would still have been lost in a daze. Jong Soo-min was already unbearably impatient. "Appa, kiss me already." But Bok Min-hwan still had not come back to his senses. Jong Soo-min had no choice but to quickly lean in herself.
So be it.
No matter what, it's finally over. The winner is still me. Meanwhile, the three sisters had already started eating like crazy. They swore they would eat back every cent of their gift money and absolutely not let Jong Soo-min get the better of them. At the dining table, they even enthusiastically greeted Jong Soo-min. "Soo-min, your outfit is so pretty. Was it passed down from your mother-in-law?" As soon as Mr. Park heard that, his face darkened. "Soo-min, what kind of friends have you made?" Jong Soo-min quickly defended herself. "I don't know them at all." At that moment, the three sisters immediately shouted loudly, as if they wanted the whole venue to hear, "Soo-min, aren't we the childhood friends who grew up running around naked together?" By then, Mrs. Park was completely enraged and immediately ordered the servers to throw the three sisters out. "I'm sorry, but please leave immediately." The three sisters were speechless. "We even gave gift money, and you're still throwing us out?" Since all pretense had already been torn away, they cursed even more harshly. Just as expected from someone who can steal her best friend's fiancé. "There's really nothing you wouldn't do." Jong Soo-min was about to lose all face. "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and throw them out." The sisters had not expected Jong Soo-min to lose her cool so quickly. Just as they were about to be thrown out, a deep, resonant male voice suddenly stopped the waitstaff. "Hey, listen carefully. I'm covering all of their expenses today. So, are you still going to throw them out now?" The servers were so shocked that they froze on the spot. It turned out that this burly man was one of Director Liu's subordinates. "If you want to bully Ji-won's friends, ask me, Mr. Liu, first." After the wedding ended, Bok Min-hwan and Jong Soo-min sat in their flashy wedding car, preparing to head home. Bok Min-hwan immediately started berating Jong Soo-min. "This is all your fault. You made me lose all my face." Jong Soo-min looked innocent. "I'm a victim too, okay? Who told you to provoke Ji-won?" The more Bok Min-hwan thought about it, the angrier he became. Compared with Ji-won, Jong Soo-min was simply far inferior. Jong Soo-min looked aggrieved. "Other than scolding me, what else can you do?" At that moment, a Maybach slowly drove past in the next lane. A look of envy immediately appeared on Bok Min-hwan's face. "If only I could drive a luxury car like that too." But when he looked more closely, the people sitting inside were actually Director Liu and Ji-won. The next second, the other car sped off with the press of the accelerator, leaving Bok Min-hwan nothing but its taillights. He instantly exploded in rage. "What are you so smug about? What's so great about you, you bastard who steals other people's girlfriends?" Jong Soo-min had not expected that even now Bok Min-hwan still could not forget Ji-won, and her heart instantly sank halfway. Thinking back to the time in the dressing room, even an old classmate had come specifically to humiliate her. "Congratulations. You picked up the trash one didn't want and treat it like treasure." At the time, she had not taken it to heart at all and thought the other person was simply jealous of her. But now, looking back on those words, this man whom I schemed and fought so hard to steal really is starting to look more and more like trash. At that moment, Jong Soo-min felt a chill run down her spine. And no one had expected that the biggest beneficiary of this wedding would actually be the director's younger sister, Hui-yeon. Not only did she eat heartily at the wedding banquet until her stomach was completely stuffed, she also took advantage of the chaos and slipped only 18 won into the red envelope. It could only be said that this move was truly impressive. Ji-won, on the other hand, had not eaten her fill at all. She then turned around and dragged the director out to eat again. Ji-won expressed her gratitude to the director. every single time. You pretend to be my boyfriend and give me the strongest support. But the director, looking shy, told her, actually, I'm the one who should be saying thank you because I like doing this kind of thing in the first place. After the two returned home, Ji-won told the director that she felt a little thirsty. Director Liu indicated that there was still beer at home. Why not come to my place for a drink? Ji-won gladly agreed. Just as the two of them opened the refrigerator to get beer, they realized that there was no distance left between them. Wine does not intoxicate people. People intoxicate themselves. In a scene like this, an ordinary person would have no way to resist. But Director Liu, who is anything but ordinary, made an incredibly direct request at that moment. Can I kiss you? Ji-won had not expected that this was what you wanted to say. Following my heart, I had no reason to refuse. And so the two of them naturally embraced and kissed. When the first ray of morning sunlight shone into the room, the director gently pulled the blanket over Ji-won. She must have been exhausted yesterday. Looking at the beloved person resting quietly by his side, the director's face was full of satisfaction. After little Fatty called out again and again, Ji-won finally woke up. When she discovered that she had actually slept in the director's bed, she was stunned on the spot. After coming back to her senses, she finally remembered that intense moment from last night. But why are my clothes still perfectly on? That doesn't seem quite normal. Could it be that the director is the kind of man who is worse than a beast by being less than one? So, what happened to me yesterday? The director gave a mischievous smile. Don't tell me you don't remember anything? Yesterday, right when we were, doing that, my friend Dajwang suddenly came over looking for me to drink. After a few bottles of alcohol, Ji-won unexpectedly went completely wild from being drunk. In front of everyone, she actually reached out to the director and asked for a hug. Faced with such passionate and bold Ji-won, even the director found it hard to handle. Seeing that a not-for-children scene was about to unfold, Dajwang immediately got the hint and slipped away on the spot. When Ji-won learned what she had done last night, she was so shocked that she turned to stone. She had not expected that she had socially died on the spot, much less that Liu Jiha really was as dense as a block of wood. Meanwhile, in a hotel overseas, Bok Min-hwan and Jong Soo-min had already begun their honeymoon. Well, calling it a trip wasn't quite accurate, because as soon as Bok Min-hwan arrived at the hotel, he shut himself inside and refused to go out. Using the money meant for buying their marital home, he began frantically trading stocks. This behavior made Jong Soo-min extremely dissatisfied, and she immediately started arguing with Bok Min-hwan. But Bok Min-hwan did not indulge her at all. Although I've never won in stock trading, I've never lost an argument. Even when Jong Soo-min deliberately pretended to be so angry that she affected the baby, Bok Min-hwan paid her no mind at all. Jong Soo-min was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She immediately began mocking Bok Min-hwan. If you had come here with Ji-won, you'd definitely be willing to go out, right? Too bad, she's already thrown herself into Director Liu's arms. The moment he heard someone bad-mouthing Ji-won, Bok Min-hwan instantly flared up. Stop talking nonsense. It was obviously Liu Jiha who seduced her. Jong Soo-min was nearly driven mad with anger. Bok Min-hwan still could not let that person go. Since that was the case, she simply started slandering Ji-won on the spot. Actually, Ji-won was the one who asked me to seduce you. She already wanted to break up with you long ago. She even told me that as long as I found a way to get pregnant with your child, we could be together. Hearing this, Bok Min-hwan instantly flew into a rage. What do you mean? Are you saying you got pregnant on purpose? Ji-won was the one who told me to do it. She said that after I married you, she could be with Liu Jiha without worries. Bok Min-hwan was dumbfounded. Have I been played by Ji-won this whole time? At that moment, Jong Soo-min seized the chance to drop another bombshell. And because I was too exhausted that day, I accidentally had a miscarriage. It was that time when she knelt in the hospital. Bok Min-hwan exploded with anger on the spot. What kind of joke is this? I registered our marriage and held a wedding with you, and now you're telling me the child is gone? Are you playing me? Jong Soo-min immediately put on a pitiful face and begged him to keep this matter secret and absolutely not let his parents know. The more Bok Min-hwan thought about it, the angrier he became, and he immediately roared, since the child was already gone. Why were you pretending to have stomach pain every day and fussing about eating this and that? Why don't you go eat shit? You're even more vicious than Gang Ji-won. Jong Soo-min asked fearfully, things have already come to this. Are you going to divorce me? When Bok Min-hwan calmed down and thought about it, divorce was impossible. Otherwise, his parents would beat him to death. Only then did Jong Soo-min feel relieved, and she immediately began soothing Bok Min-hwan. You don't need to worry about the child. We can just have another one later. I don't blame Ji-won at all. If it weren't for her, we might not even have ended up together. Jong Soo-min's words successfully made Bok Min-hwan direct his hatred toward Ji-won once again. How dare you play me? He ran outside by himself and started drinking alone. Thinking back on Jong Soo-min's words, so it was all because of Ji-won that I ended up marrying a strange woman like Jong Soo-min and being looked at like a fool by everyone else. Thinking back to the Ji-won from before, who almost never took the initiative to speak to others, she had actually taken the initiative to buy Liu Jia coffee. And her attitude toward me had also grown colder and colder. Liu Jia had even stood up for her. Ji-won had also suddenly changed her style and started dressing so beautifully. So they had already been fooling around together for a long time. Do you think I'll just let you two off like this? You really picked the wrong person to mess with. At that moment, Bak Min-hwan directly pulled a business card out of his wallet. It belonged to an organization that operated on the edge of the law, specializing in shady dealings. Staring at the card, Bak Min-hwan revealed a sinister smile. Ji-won, since you used Jong Soo-min to ruin me, then I'll use Loo Ji-ha to ruin you too. After Bak Min-hwan and Jong Soo-min resigned, the company was filled everywhere with a friendly and peaceful atmosphere. And soon, the company announced the promotion list. Assistant Manager Yang was directly promoted to section chief. To celebrate her promotion, Assistant Manager Yang decided on the spot to treat everyone to a group dinner. But Ji-won was a little distracted. Why hadn't the director come to work today? The dinner gathering was held at a large restaurant. To everyone's surprise, this place actually belonged to Assistant Manager Yang's parents. Her husband was also helping out at the restaurant. It was clearly a family business through and through. Just as Ji-won was happily eating, a call from Bak Min-hwan suddenly came through. Ji-won could not even be bothered to answer it. Since she would not answer the phone, Bak Min-hwan simply sent a threatening text instead. I advise you to break up with Loo Ji-ha right away, or I'll destroy all of you. Faced with such utterly boring messages from Bak Min-hwan, Ji-won did not take them seriously at all. She went straight home. Since the director had not come to work today, Ji-won decided to go over and see what exactly he was doing. But even after ringing the doorbell several times, there was no response. Even stranger, his phone also could not be reached. Ji-won immediately became anxious. And just then, little Fatty's miserable cries suddenly came from inside the room. Ji-won was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. What on earth was she supposed to do now? At that moment, she suddenly remembered something. Right, for the convenience of letting me come pet the cat, the director had already told me the door code long ago. She immediately entered the door lock code. The door opened smoothly, and little Fatty had clearly been waiting inside for a long time. It seemed to be telling Ji-won through its actions, "Hurry, follow me." With that, it ran toward the inside. Only after Ji-won walked in did she finally realize it. The director's fever was already very severe, and his whole body was as red as a roasted sweet potato. Fortunately, after Ji-won took care of him for a while, the director finally woke up. He never would have expected that Ji-won would be here. Ji-won told the director that thanks to little Chubby desperately calling for help, I was able to get here in time. Seeing Ji-won while in such a weak state, the director seemed to regain his energy all at once, staring straight at her with eyes that could not bear to look away. Ji-won shyly asked, "Why do you keep staring at me?" The director said mischievously, "Too beautiful, really too beautiful." Faced with such a direct compliment, Ji-won blushed crimson with embarrassment. In a panic, she quickly pulled the blanket over the director. "You shameless guy, you should hurry up and rest." As soon as the blanket covered him, the director immediately shouted, "Miss Ji-won, I'm suffocating." After hearing that, Ji-won became even more embarrassed. My makeup is all ruined right now, so how could I still be beautiful enough to take someone's breath away?" Having barely gotten his life back, the director gasped for air and said, "Of course you're beautiful. But what's suffocating me is the blanket." Only then did Ji-won realize that the director really was about to be smothered. It was awkward beyond words. Awkward to the extreme. And just at that moment, the director directly reached his big hand over. Whenever the director gets sick, he starts acting improper. As their eyes met, the atmosphere instantly turned ambiguous. All of this caught Ji-won off guard. Should I push him away or not? Last time I was drunk, but this time I'm completely sober. But after the director pulled Ji-won into his arms, nothing happened after that. In the end, he was still just a complete novice. Staying frozen like this was not a solution. So Ji-won timidly asked, "Aren't you going to kiss me?" Only then did the director come to his senses, immediately gathering his courage to do the thing he had wanted most to do. After what happened last night, Ji-won instead found herself not knowing how to face the director for the moment. She was extremely conflicted now. What exactly are we to each other? She opened the door, getting ready to go to work, but she discovered that the director was already waiting outside the door. And now his fever had already gone down, and his body had fully recovered. Ji-won immediately became upset. After what happened between us yesterday, the director actually had no reaction at all. At that moment, the director told her, "Yesterday was my mistake." "A mistake? Do you think what happened yesterday was just a mistake?" Ji-won was completely speechless. "Did you accidentally kiss me? Then hurry up and forget it. Forget it completely. Then I'll just pretend nothing happened at all." Ji-won turned around angrily and was about to leave. The director immediately chased after her and blocked her path. "What do you mean, forget it completely?" After saying that, the director directly pulled open the car door. "Yesterday, I didn't even drive you home and just let you leave by yourself. That was my mistake." After saying that, he directly took out the flowers he had prepared long ago from the car and said to Ji-won with a serious expression, "We really did kiss yesterday. So compared with titles like Assistant Manager Kong and Director Yu, I want us to become something more special." Ji-won was so moved, she nearly burst into tears on the spot. So this is how straightforward an honest man's confession is? And ever since Bak Min-hwan contacted the organization on the business card last time, the person in charge directly called Bak Min-hwan over. At that moment, Big Gold Chain told Bak Min-hwan with a serious face, "Do you know what kind of identity Yu Ji-hyuk, the the man you asked us to investigate, actually has? He is Chairman Yu Hanail's only biological grandson. Bok Min-hwan was completely shocked when he heard this news. The person who belongs to the country's largest food company, the very chairman of our company, is actually Yu Ji-hyuk's own grandfather. How could his background be this powerful? Big Gold Chain reminded him again. We've already found out that he and Gang Ji-won are dating. I think this matter should end here. The fact that Yu Ji-hyuk is the chairman's grandson must be kept secret. If it's discovered that we leaked the information, we're all finished. As soon as Bok Min-hwan heard this, he flew into a rage. I spent so much money, and yet you can't do anything. Hurry up and give my money back. Hearing that, Big Gold Chain laughed. Damn, have I been too nice to you? He directly yanked Bok Min-hwan up in one move. Didn't I already help you find out that they're dating? The job's done, and you still want a refund? Are you tired of living? Get the hell out of here, or I'll break all 3 of your legs. Faced with the ferocious Big Gold Chain, Bok Min-hwan instantly cowered. He never imagined that after spending so much money, what he got in the end was merely a lesson. Meanwhile, his wife Jong Soo-min was nearly going crazy with anxiety at home, rummaging through everything but still unable to find it. What is going on? That congratulatory cash gift Ji-won gave me last time. Where did the 5 million one go? It was the last bit of money left in the house. Suddenly, a terrible suspicion rose in her heart. Could Bok Min-hwan have spent it? Just then Bok Min-hwan happened to come back from outside, and Jong Soo-min immediately questioned him. Was the wedding gift money Ji-won gave us spent by you? Bok Min-hwan was in a foul mood and had no desire to deal with her at all. When he saw that she had prepared dinner, he immediately sat down to eat. But Jong Soo-min completely panicked. Just answer me already. Did you spend it or not? Yes, I spent it, so what? Isn't it just that little bit of lousy money? Just go ask her for more then. Don't ask for just 5 million next time. Ask her for 500 million directly. Jong Soo-min was completely dumbfounded. Where was she supposed to get that much money? Gang Ji-won certainly didn't have it, but her boyfriend did. Boyfriend? You mean Yu Ji-hyuk?
That's right, that bastard.
He's actually Chairman Yu Hanail of UK Group's biological grandson. I was wondering how that useless guy could become a director. So it was all because of connections. If I had that kind of background too, I wouldn't have ended up like this today. After hearing this piece of gossip, Jong Soo-min's face instantly turned ashen. She simply could not believe it was true. Bok Min-hwan continued, and Yu Ji-hyuk even arranged for Ji-won to live right next door to him. Those 2 shameless dogs are practically living like newlyweds. When Jong Soo-min heard this, she almost exploded on the spot, and she vaguely seemed to realize something. The scheming green tea manipulator had finally met her retribution. After thinking back carefully, she finally sensed that something was wrong. When I got close to Bok Min-hwan back then, Ji-won didn't object at all, and even kept saying good things about him. She even told me that the director was picky and rigid, and not nearly as good as Bok Min-hwan. Ji-won must have known long ago that Yu Ji-hyuk was the chairman's grandson. She was afraid the director and I would get together, so she deliberately pushed me toward Bok Min-hwan. The person who should have been with the director was obviously me, Jong Soo-min. At this moment, Jong Soo-min let out a howl of regret so intense it was almost despair. She once again asked Bok Min-hwan for confirmation. Those 2 aren't really going to get married, are they? Bok Min-hwan had no idea why she was so agitated and directly snatched away her rice bowl. Jong Soo-min was stunned by this move on the spot. Why are you taking away my bowl? Bok Min-hwan had already finished his own meal, yet he even ate Jong Soo-min's portion too, and directly told her, "Everything in this house was bought by me. You have no right to eat." Hearing those words, Jong Soo-min felt as though she had instantly fallen into an ice cellar. The shadows of her childhood also surfaced one by one at that moment. When she was young, her mother used to scold her like this too. And at home, she could hardly eat anything good. She could only eat hardened cold rice and foul-smelling salted vegetables and dried fish. But at Gang Ji-won's home, she was like a princess. Her father doted on her very much. Every day, he made her abundant meals. Even the most ordinary dinner in her house was, to me, the most delicious food in the world. So delicious, it made you want to cry. Why did Ji-won have such a good life? It would only be fair if she had to eat rice mixed with pickles just like me. At this time, Jong Soo-min's young heart had already become deeply twisted, so she resolved to steal everything Ji-won had. But no matter how hard she tried, she could not understand why, after stealing Bok Min-hwan away, her situation was still this miserable. Time passed into the middle of the night. Bok Min-hwan had already started performing his symphony, but Jong Soo-min was so angry that she could not sleep at all. How could Ji-won be living so happily? The more Jong Soo-min thought about it, the angrier she became, grinding her teeth in hatred toward Ji-won. And just then, Bok Min-hwan's phone suddenly received a text message. Jong Soo-min opened it and saw that it was from Big Gold Chain, warning him once again that he absolutely must not reveal the director's true identity. Jong Soo-min had no idea what Bok Min-hwan had really been doing behind the scenes, so she began looking through the other contents on his phone. And the photo of the director confessing to Ji-won had also been secretly taken by Big Gold Chain and sent to Bok Min-hwan. After seeing that photo, a sinister smile immediately appeared on Jong Soo-min's face, and a vicious plan instantly came to mind. Since Big Gold Chain told Bok Min-hwan not to leak the information, then I'll do the exact opposite and blow this whole thing up. With a keyboard in hand, The world is mine. Although Jang Soo-min's intelligence was crushed by Ji-won in every way when it came to being a keyboard warrior, she really did have some skill. She started making posts on all the major forums, beginning with one picture and fabricating the rest, exposing the shameless behavior of a rich third-generation heir and a cheating woman, forced to kneel by a co-worker's violence, and in the end, even caused a miscarriage. Using the persona of a pregnant woman who miscarried, Jang Soo-min frantically smeared Ji-won, and a whole group of gossiping onlookers who didn't know the truth all believed her lies and began verbally attacking Ji-won and the director. Jang Soo-min never expected that she actually had talent in this area. After seeing her own perfect work, she almost laughed like a pig on the spot. Although all the posts were made anonymously, anyone with half a brain could tell that Jang Soo-min was behind it. It seemed she was planning to fight me to the bitter end. It seems she's determined to fight me to the end, but what I didn't expect was that Ji-hyuk is actually the chairman's grandson. At that moment, the director, having gotten the news, hurried over anxiously. He had never expected that because of him, Ji-won would be slandered like this. He immediately told Ji-won, I didn't mean to hide it from you. Although the chairman really is my grandfather, I've never relied on him in the company. I worked my way up step by step from the bottom to get to where I am today. Seeing the director so guilty, Ji-won almost burst out laughing. Silly. Whether you're the chairman's grandson or the president's son, to me, you are Yoo Ji-hyuk, the one and only Yoo Ji-hyuk. The director had not expected Ji-won to be so understanding. The long explanation he had prepared instantly became useless, and his little heart started pounding wildly with excitement. But at that moment, Ji-won began to worry. Now, it's not just us. Even the company's reputation has been affected. What are we supposed to do? The director also looked helpless. If the media had exposed it, I could still try to suppress it, but with anonymous forum posts like this, it really is hard to handle. I never thought Jang Soo-min could be this shameless. It would be one thing if she only targeted me, but she even dared to drag Ji-hyuk into it. Jang Soo-min's actions had already completely crossed Ji-won's bottom line. After thinking it over for a while, Ji-won finally came up with an idea. Director, I think this is what we should do. The director looked confused. Then what should we do? Since she wants to blow this matter up, then we'll make it even bigger. So big that they won't be able to contain it at all. Bak Min-hwan was in the middle of a fierce argument with Jang Soo-min. He never imagined that he had merely slept for one night, and Jang Soo-min had already caused such a huge mess behind his back. And right at that moment, Jang Soo-min happened to receive a call from Ji-won. Ji-won got straight to the point. Those posts online were written by you, weren't they? But Jang Soo-min deliberately refused to admit it. Oh my. Why would you think it was me? It doesn't matter if you won't admit it. Ji-won directly lowered her stance. Please delete the posts. Do you know how badly I'm being cursed out right now? At that moment, Jang Soo-min's temper was ignited too, and all the grievances she had built up during this time completely exploded at once. She immediately roared, "Why should I delete them just because you tell me to? Weren't you the ones humiliating me all this time?" After hanging up, Ji-won continued to plead with her in a low voice. "Soo-min, please, hurry and delete the posts." Seeing this, Jang Soo-min became even more pleased with herself. She greatly enjoyed this sense of victory. Ji-won took the opportunity to ask, "Then what exactly will it take for you to delete them? Do you want money? How much will you agree to delete them for?" Hearing Ji-won say that, Jang Soo-min instantly snapped awake. Right? Why didn't I think of directly asking for money? Seeing that Jang Soo-min was tempted, Ji-won continued, "As long as you delete the posts and then tell the reporters this was all just a misunderstanding, I'll give you 300 million won. How about it?" Although 300 million was already beyond Jang Soo-min's psychological expectations, because she liked to name outrageous prices on the spot, she directly raised it to 500 million. Even Ji-won was startled by that number and began hesitating in the face of the demand. Jang Soo-min felt that she had Ji-won in the palm of her hand now. Are you giving it or not? If not, then forget it. After hesitating again and again, Ji-won finally agreed. But such a large sum can't be transferred. I've already prepared the cash. You'll have to come get it yourselves. Faced with the temptation of 500 million won and seeing Ji-won's troubled expression, Jang Soo-min did not think much at all and directly agreed. Bak Min-hwan, who had originally opposed this, became excited too as soon as he heard that Ji-won was going to give 500 million. At that moment, Jang Soo-min started showing off. "See, Appa, look how amazing I am at making money. This is how you use your brain, got it?" When the agreed time and place arrived, Jang Soo-min came together with Bak Min-hwan to collect the money. Thinking that they were about to achieve financial freedom, the two of them happily hummed little tunes as they strutted along with swaggering steps. Jang Soo-min could not even help laughing out loud. How could she be this smart? She was simply a little genius at making money. Even Bak Min-hwan, who had always looked down on her, viewed her with new respect this time. As for Ji-won and the director, they had already been waiting there for a long time. As soon as they met, Jang Soo-min asked, "Ji-won, is the money ready?" "The money is inside. Go in, and I'll hand it to you." Jang Soo-min immediately let out a smug, wicked laugh. "Gang Ji-won, picking a fight with me serves you right." But even at this moment, Jang Soo-min still had not realized that danger was closing in. As a large beam of light shone directly onto her face, Jong Soo-min froze on the spot. The room was actually an exhibition hall, and below sat a densely packed crowd of reporters. May we ask why you're holding a press conference with the victim? Are you planning to apologize publicly? The reporters all spoke at once, immediately beginning a live interview-style barrage. Ji-won immediately locked the door to stop them from escaping on the spot. At that moment, the director formally announced, the press conference regarding the spreading of rumors by a former UK employee will now begin. Jong Soo-min and Bak Min-hwan were completely terrified out of their wits. They had clearly come to get money, but now it felt as if they were about to stand on trial. Jong Soo-min had not expected Ji-won to be waiting for her here, but thinking of her own award-winning acting skills, she quickly forced herself to calm down again. It was still uncertain who would come out on top. The press conference officially began. The reporters below immediately started asking questions and verifying the contents of the posts point by point. Faced with these groundless rumors, Ji-won immediately gave a powerful response. When Ji-won was asked whether, as the internet claimed, she really lived next door to the director as his kept woman, Hui-yeon immediately handed over the materials. She could prove that she was the one who introduced the house to Ji-won, and that all expenses were paid by Ji-won herself. The director did not pay a single cent. And the reason Ji-won moved was because Bak Min-hwan had been stalking and harassing her. That photo circulating online was exactly the evidence that he had secretly taken it. Bak Min-hwan had never expected such an unexpected spoiler to appear midway, and instantly became furious out of shame. Hui-yeon directly told him, after doing something like this, don't even think about staying in the company. Hurry up and prepare to calculate your severance package. The reporters immediately photographed, recorded, and documented all of this. Ji-won's side had completely gained the upper hand, and Jong Soo-min was retreating step by step, leaving her no choice but to use her final trump card. She cried on the spot until she choked with sobs. But Ji-won, why did you make me miscarry? Do you know how much I wanted to keep that child? That almost made Ji-won laugh. I knew you would definitely bring this up. Ji-won directly raised her voice and questioned her. Miss Jong Soo-min, are you sure you were ever really pregnant? Jong Soo-min froze on the spot. Could Ji-won already know something? The reporters also immediately followed up. Do you have evidence that Miss Jong Soo-min was never pregnant? Ji-won directly asked Bak Min-hwan. Did you ever accompany your wife to the OB-GYN? Jong Soo-min immediately jumped in to answer. I always went to the hospital by myself. Appa was too busy with work and already had it hard enough. Ji-won asked again Bak Min-hwan, have you ever seen Jong Soo-min's ultrasound photos? Or the handbook the hospital gives to pregnant women? Bak Min-hwan was instantly stumped because he truly had never seen any of those things even once. Jong Soo-min continued to answer first. Ever since the miscarriage, I was too heartbroken, so I burned all of those things. Ji-won directly delivered the fatal blow. Then Miss Jong Soo-min, which hospital did you go to? A reporter in the audience who knew the answer immediately called out the hospital's phone number. Ji-won immediately dialed the hospital. Watching that call being made, Jong Soo-min was nearly scared senseless. How was she supposed to keep making things up now? After the call connected, Ji-won immediately made an appointment for an OB-GYN follow-up examination. When Ji-won gave Jong Soo-min's identification information to the hospital said that they had no treatment record for this person. Now the truth was already clear. The hospital had never treated a pregnant woman named Jong Soo-min. Since Jong Soo-min had never been pregnant, how could Ji-won possibly have beaten her into miscarrying? The rumor instantly collapsed on its own, and Ji-won immediately pressed Jong Soo-min. What exactly was the purpose of your false accusation? And how do you intend to bear the legal responsibility? Everything about Jong Soo-min was exposed on the spot. No matter how glib she was, at this moment, she could only stand there speechless. Faced with such a complete defeat, her emotions were already on the verge of collapse. She immediately ran toward Bak Min-hwan. She hoped Bak Min-hwan would stand up and speak for her. Appa, don't stay silent, help me. But no one expected that Bak Min-hwan would directly shove her away. Bak Min-hwan felt that he had been deceived too terribly. Jong Soo-min had faked the pregnancy, yet he had somehow muddle-headedly married her. I don't want to see you again. You ruined my whole life. Bak Min-hwan angrily turned around and was about to leave. Jong Soo-min hurriedly chased after him. He who harms others ultimately harms himself. At last, this farce had finally come to light, and the director and Ji-won had finally cleared their names. At that moment, an entertainment reporter probed again. Director Yu, is there really no relationship at all between you and Miss Ji-won? At present, there's still, the director subconsciously started to answer. But unexpectedly, Ji-won directly interrupted him. We have recently developed feelings for each other, and now have a relationship that is more special than co-workers and neighbors. The reporter immediately followed up. So, do you mean that you admit you are in a romantic relationship? Ji-won said playfully, if Mr. Yoo Ji-hyuk is willing, then I think so. Happiness had arrived too suddenly, and my director was momentarily so overwhelmed that he did not know what to say. The reporters below instantly exploded with excitement. Who could have imagined they would officially announce their relationship right there on the spot? Hurry and take more pictures. This would definitely be tomorrow's headline. The director was deeply moved. After feeling Ji-won's sincerity, he realized that she was much braver than he was. At this moment, The director tightly held Ji-won's hand, and everything that needed to be said was left unsaid. After the press conference ended, Ji-won was sharing the joy of victory with the director, and the two were so absorbed in talking that Ji-won's flip phone rang for quite a while, without her noticing. The number you dialed is temporarily unavailable. On the other end of the phone, Chi-fyong was already crying in despair. Ji-won could never have imagined that the misfortune that belonged to her in her previous life would quietly be transferred onto Chi-fyong. After seeing that she had missed so many calls, Ji-won immediately rushed to Chi-fyong's home to find her. As soon as the door opened, Ji-won awkwardly explained that she had been too busy just now and had not seen her phone, and Chi-fyong in front of her had already cried herself into tears. After entering the room, she immediately told Ji-won everything. During this period, her husband's behavior had been very abnormal. Not only had he taken off their wedding rings, but there were always traces left in the bathtub showing that someone had been splashing around in it. Even stranger, the cosmetics in the house would also inexplicably decrease. At first, I thought I was just being too sensitive, until that night, after my husband fell asleep. Although he was holding me, the name he called out was another woman's. Later, I deliberately lied to him and said I had to work overtime, then hid nearby and watched, until I saw with my own eyes that a woman skillfully entered the password and walked into my home. She told Ji-won through tears that she really did not have the courage to rush in, because once she exposed them, the two of them truly would never be able to go on living together. Ji-won had experienced betrayal in her previous life and could be considered someone who had truly been through it. Seeing that Chi-fyong was too afraid to make a decision because she worried divorce would affect the child, Ji-won immediately persuaded her. When it is time to divorce, you absolutely must divorce. Although my mother also had an affair with someone else and left home, my father gave me more than enough love and stayed by my side as I grew up. On the contrary, if my mother had stayed by my side while constantly cheating, then I might truly have been unhappy. After hearing Ji-won's advice and thinking it over repeatedly, Chi-fyong finally steeled her heart and decided to say goodbye to the scumbag completely. According to Ji-won's memory, it was now 2009, and the adultery law had not yet been abolished. If you committed adultery with a married person, you could really and truly end up serving 2 years in prison. Chi-fyong and Ji-won immediately began collecting evidence of her husband's affair. Through a special channel, Chi-fyong found the social media account of the other woman who had broken up her marriage. Inside, the woman openly showed off intimate photos of herself with Chi-fyong's husband. Ji-won never expected that it would actually be this woman. Isn't this the waitress from the barbecue restaurant? No wonder they got tangled up together, so it was work that brought the two of them closer. Chi-fyong was already so angry that her stomach was starting to ache faintly, but in order to catch them in the act, she still immediately came up with a plan.